Huzzah. Huzzah for some pizza. It's your bedtime. How's the night been so far? It's going good. Hey, Meg. Meg. Lizzie's here. Fry. The mod crew. Play some COD. I did get COD, Cold War. Not a huge... I don't know. Just been playing video games for so dang long. I'm just like, my mind is just dead to them. Like I just can already know what I'm getting myself into. It's like playing Pokemon again. It's like it's fun, but I know exactly what it's gonna be. You're making canna butter inspired by Let's Read. Oh shit! Please do be careful. Canna butter socks. Alex, you just got promoted at work. Congrats. Promoted to first lieutenant. General pizza sauce. You have a stomach ache this morning. You farted like a foghorn and felt fine afterwards. Good. That goes perfect with my meme from Twitter. When you fart so good, it cures your stomach ache. Lauren, we are here for you. All live streams are 100% guaranteed to cure depression on the first listen. You can believe that. Take that to the bazank. You're listening to episode 75 of the podcast, and you got this notification. Well, thanks for putting that on pause and coming and checking out a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of listening to a Let's Read stream. Let's Read, you smoke, bro? You smoke? I'm smoking. Smoking hot. Venikins with a 2. What is up, Venikins? Long time. No CZs. Joel, I need my Pradeep kit update. Hope you're well. Pradeep is going through some big changes. Earlier, he was sleeping on one side of the bed, facing me, and now he's sleeping on the other side of the bed, facing away from me. So, those are the big updates on the front. The grand battle against nappy time with Pradeep. He's probably in his mind fighting many of the spiritual demons that we all try to fend off. Wouldn't that be interesting? If that's where your cats went when they took their 800 naps a day, they were just constantly fighting a spiritual enemy outside of our realm of comprehension. An army of cats together, getting the zoomies, fending off daemons. Listening from the UK, nice. I think this first story's from the UK, actually. So you'll fit right in. Hey, Joel, love the retail stories. I used to work at a grocery store, so I love them. Perfect. I think a lot of people here can relate to retail. What type of cat? I don't know. Black cat? I don't know if that's like a type. Some people in the last one had the concepts of something like long-haired Spickles Spaniard spontaneous spiruption erection cat, but I don't know if the cats even have breeds. Seems like you just get random ones. Liverpool? I don't think Liverpool was Australian. I don't think Liverpool's Australia. Unless, I don't know what you're talking about. Love from New Zealand. What up? New Zealand. We got matching cats, yeah. It is funny when I see like a cat that like, I don't know, a black cat that somebody has that just looks just like Pradeep. I'm like, what the hell? He's cheating on me, dude. He's giving his cuddles to another. Krista, how come I never notice you? Senpai? Well, there you go. All you have to do is just yell at me with 3 exclamation points and 3 question marks. That's how you get attention. Venikin's art with another 2 buckaroos says that's why he's so damn tired. Like, boop snoots. Dude, he loves getting his snooter boopered. You have a tortoise shell cat. What the heck is that? Is it a mix? Some sort of chimera? Some sort of hybrid beast? The incentive to listen to the podcast. Well, I had to expand the content out to the podcast form because people were asking for it. And, you know, if you're already a fan of the YouTube channel, you're pretty much catching up to date on everything here. You're not going to hear anything new on the podcast. But the one thing with the podcast is, for me at least, is that I'm reaching to a degree a different audience, you know what I mean? In the same way that a lot of podcasts that you'll hear almost were started on podcasts and brought their stuff over to YouTube. I guess I did the opposite. So it just kind of allows me to kind of put my content out in a different realm. Like, even hypothetically, if I could release my content on, you know, a YouTube competitor or something of that nature, it would be relatively similar. Laura with the 5 says, Joel, how goes it? I'm okay dealing with some dehydration, but now I can lay down and listen to you. Pat predict for me. Love you much. Thank you, Laura. Dehydration. Shoot. What's the deal there? You need some soup and some Wawa. Get that sodium and potassium pumping through the veins ASAP. Hannah has a charcoal gray cat, and she was an angel, and now she's a fallen angel because of the new cat that's around. She cranky. She crank. What I do for the weekend? What did I do this weekend? What? Monday? I don't know. I think I just hung out with some friendos or some shit, or maybe nothing. Maybe I did absolutely nothing. That'd be cool. Dehydration is quite common with gastric bypass. Oh, okay. It's like a little bit more difficult to absorbs the... I put on some Donkey Kong chill stuff. I'm like, has anyone ever heard this in Donkey Kong ever, this song? Sounds like very not Donkey Kong-like at all. There we go. That's a little bit more Donkey and Kongy. Bra Bras is here. Them meat sweats. Oh yeah, I get a lot of meat sweats. Of course, I guess meat might make sure that I stay hydrated. Unless that's all I'm eating. Just beer and beef jerky. Some old men, that's what they're into. Freddy, you got a huge Rottie. I'd always thought it'd be cute to have a Rottweiler. I had a Doberman for a long time and made me realize that those scary dogs aren't so scary whenever you raise them right. All dogs are just a manifestation of their owners. Dude, give me them Donkey Kong Jungle Jams. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying to pump them out at record numbers. Kristen, you've heard every single one of my stories. Well, I'm glad. We need more bingers. Any bingers in the chat? Any bingies? Just straight up binge and let's read. You got trauma from IVs. Or you got an IV because you were in trauma. Boom. Question mark. Investigate 311. I know, I've been saying that for years, dude. What is wrong with Hannah tonight? Watch your profanity. Alex E., head moderator. I've not seen you in many a moon. Anyone who tells you to deny yourself is from Satan, says Satan himself. Lila feels lightheaded. All right, well, you stay in bed, Lila. And you have Mama Bear bring you some liquids. Let's read in chips. Let's read in chillax. Let's read in naps. No, that's what I call Jungle Jams Volume 6. Return to the Kong. Dude, we need a proper Donkey Kong game. I'm sick of that, like, whatever the fuck that was where you bang on the bongo. That was neat. But dude, we need a proper, like, full-ass, fully voice-acted from the people who made Skyrim Donkey Kong game. We need a very in-depth storyline where Donkey Kong is trying to find the pulsating bananas hidden deep within your jungle. Jungle of the mind, not jungle of the pants. Oh yes, do go click that like button. If you would be so kind. Share this out with your friends. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta share this out with my friendos on the interwebs. We're almost at 300 people here. Appreciate you guys being here. We live Twitter. Dude, Twitter's gonna be so stoked to see that I'm live. Twitter's like gonna be so stoked that I'm live, they're not even gonna cancel me today. I got canceled 3 times on Twitter by the time I woke up. But if you cancel someone twice, they get reverse canceled. So just know that it kind of works like a math problem a little bit. It's like you negate it if you do it too much. You like this music? Yeah, this is Donkey Kong and Lo-Fi. I was just looking for some chill Donkey Kong related action. Anna Horta with the 5 says, absolutely love your content. Hope you're doing okay. Thank you, Anna. Doing fantastic. Thank you for the 5. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. And Nick Newman with the 3. Thumbs up, my dude. Thank you, Nick. Good to see you guys. Hannah, you hate Twitter and Facebook? What the heck? Dude, things are changing, man. It seems like... What's gonna happen to our precious social media one day? Is it just everybody seems to hate it? But are we addicted to it? It's like crack. It's like crack. Miss Molly with the 2 says, Joe! Joe! Way in the back of the audience. She just threw a rock or an egg at the stage, hypothetically. Joe! Nailed me right in the face. Ugh. Ugh. I needed that. What if you got hit in the face with an egg and it actually, like, I don't even know, like, opened up your third eye? And suddenly you could see, you like briefly saw into the future. And it was beautiful. Because it involved you being here tonight at this stream, saying a bunch of random bullshit in the chat, and me reading some spooky stories. Can you imagine a night like that? Jake, how do I know the stories you tell are real? Bro, Jake, I'm right there with you, man. We are experiencing these stories together as one beautiful hive mind. Just kind of living it up, pondering the reality of reality. Also, please stop spamming in the fucking chat. Jesus Christ, dude. It's okay. It's alright. Sometimes people just really want to ask a question. But yeah, I mean, I'm just, basically it's just you guys send your stories in and I read them, and we're kind of under the we're kind of under the just interpretation that if you send in a story, that you send in a real one, whether it's paranormal, whether it's true. Nick with the 5. Joel, I appreciate you so much. I've been binging and re-listening to all the stories. Much needed comfort. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. It's really weird, like, oh, now I'm dancing. Do you ever just hear a song and your body just takes over? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck, dude. Like, I'm doing the b-boy breakdance like my avatar was there on screen. Yeah. Let me tell you something about Donkey Kong. He's got a real big banana, yeah. He climbed a tree to get it. Him and Diddy Kong. They're a fucking team. They're fucking best friends. Him and Diddy Kong to the end, yeah. Donkey Kong's banana party. Yeah. Fuck. Banana fucking party. Him and Diddy Kong. All night. All fucking night long. I forget what the girl monkey's name is, but we're gonna invite her over and potentially play some video games, yeah. Video games, yeah. With the girl monkey from the game. What if we played the game, the exact one that we're in? The exact video game that we're in, yeah. Hannah, I saw that from your story earlier. You and your sister like screaming to get a candle to turn out, and I thought that was really funny because I've tried that before, just like independently, just like see a candle and go ah. Banana party, yeah. Miss Molly with the 5. My dear, I also had a question. When you do your long podcasts, do you pick all new stories or do you reread the same old ones? Oh, yeah, so for the podcast, they're all compilation stories. Y'all got YouTube. They're all compilation stories of content that was previously released, usually about 6 months ago. But the Oh. Roommate's taking a shower. I thought he went to bed. But yeah, it's like a big compilation of stories from the past, but then released in podcast form, but also re-released on YouTube in that compilation, larger videos. You know, for some of the people that are new to the channel, YouTube tends to help promote that kind of stuff, but it also helps raise awareness that there is a podcast that people can go to if they're just looking to, you know, save on data. They're able to listen to it with their screen turned off if they don't have YouTube Premium, that kind of stuff. Which also, by the way, like all the people that listen to the channel that have like Premium alone are essentially just by themselves keeping me alive. So whether you realize it or not, and if you have Premium to avoid ads, you're actually really helping the channel. So kudos to all y'alls, and thank you to everyone on Patreon as well. Just thank you to all of you for sticking it out till the end. Tanya Westnidge with the 5 says, how many creeptastic stories do we have tonight? By the way, you're awesome. Let's keep it up. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for the 5. We got actually 5 creeptastio storios tonight from the world of retail. Should be sick nasty. Anyone survive November? Believe you me, my friend. If I would have even went 1 week without a big nutmeg, it would have been dripping out of my nose. Which does happen. That is scientifically proven that if you do not nut, it will find other ways to escape the body. Primarily up the stomach, through the gourds, out one nostril. You might think you have a bit of a cold, bit of a sniffle. That's cream. It's literally cream. Human cream, man cream, or female cream. I don't know. What was your old background? I don't know, buddy. I'm not sure. Oh, Westnidge, is that the pronunciation? Oh, nice. I got lucky because usually I just completely botch it. What's my worst fears? Worst fears. Getting eaten by a bear. Getting eaten by a shark. Getting eaten by little dolls. I don't know if you've ever seen Tales from the Hood. I've talked about this. But when I was younger, there was this one about this, like, I don't know if he was like a senator or what he was in the show, but he bought like a plantation house, right? And he was this real bad guy, and the house like had, like, they were gonna tear down the house, but some reason he bought it because he was real racist or something, and he bought it like, and it had all these like souls from people who were like lynched in the past, and then all of those souls went into these like little dolls, and then the fucking dolls like ate him alive. And as a kid, I like walked in right at that exact time. My parents or my mom and older brother were watching that, and watching a man like screaming while being eaten alive by little like claymation dolls like just fucked me up really, really bad. And now I can't. Is this story real? I mean, it's oh no, what? No. I mean, it is the movie's real. Tales from the Hood. You should watch it. It's a very good movie. But holy shit, man, as a kid, you got to be careful what you show your kids, because I feel like I mean, I guess it didn't destroy me or anything like that, but I mean, it definitely was no fun to watch as a kid. Dying before I could do something important or fun, being single forever, going to jail, and going to hell are four of my biggest fears. Yeah, hell definitely would not be so much fun. I think that's a scary one. Tales from the Nut. Dripping out of your nut. Alright guys, we have reached the 20-minute pre-stream marker. We got about almost 400 folks in here. Thanks for clicking likes, thanks for sharing, and thanks for being here. Get comfy, get your poppy corn. What if you could heat up your inside of your mouth so much that you could put a kernel of corn there and it would pop itself? And instead of saliva, you had salt and butter come out of your tongue. That would be sick. You wouldn't be easy. You wouldn't even need conventional Orville Redenbacher. Hannah's gonna send poop to your P.O. box. Okay, my friends, let me find. It's gonna get real spooky, so I hope all of you guys are prepped and ready. You've got your anti-spooky earbuds in, and you got one of your safety animals near you, because I'm gonna switch it up here from the sweet-ass Donkey Kong lo-fi music. Thanks again for that. Go check that out on YouTube if you enjoyed it. To Iron Cthulhu. I was gonna make like a joke on Twitter about like someone who pronounces Cthulhu as Cthulhu, like they're hacking up a loogie, is not afraid to die, and you should be very concerned about them. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's spaghetti it. Alicia Jacobs with the 5 says, do you have any stories of your own to share? You know, thankfully not really. I mean, I've talked about Chalulu. You know, I've talked about some weird sleep paralysis stuff I've experienced and various other things, but honestly, I've been pretty fortunate, lived in a pretty safe area. Whenever I'd gone other places, I'd been, you know, wary of my surroundings, as I hope most everyone would, you know what I mean? Daisy, you did not miss anything. We're just starting out, baby. So yeah, I am fortunate there. I'm gonna scoot the chats over just a tade. Alright, like I said, we got 5 retail stories here. If you guys do have a story, obviously the channel is ran pretty much by all of you guys as far as content goes. Hey Barbie, please do submit your story. Create an account on Reddit and go to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. That's my official subreddit, or r/letsreadofficial, whatever you prefer. And yeah, submit there, or submit to my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. That would be cool as well if you don't feel like making a Reddit account, but Reddit accounts are real easy, cheesy to make. Princess, thank you. Love you too. Nothing better than being high and realizing you have snackies in your baggie. Snackies in my baggie. Yum, yum, yum. I'm gonna put them in my mouth and chew. Yum, 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 yum. Lube up the lips. Eat some chips. Oh yes, Horny Computer. That is the... Definitely go follow my meme page at Horny Computer on Instagram. Almost at 1,000 followers on there. Getting pretty close to like 140 likes a video, or a post. It's been fun, I just like sharing memes. People seem to enjoy them. It's making people laugh as satisfying to me as making people spooked and or relaxed. One of the two, whatever you choose. Let's do it. I used to work in bars and pubs here in Liverpool, something I would not recommend to anyone. But I paid the bills and I got to work with friends, so I stuck at it for a few years, eventually landing a supervisor's job. Now, one of my duties was to make sure the tills were in order, making sure they had enough change, that the notes weren't all stacked messily, that sort of thing. Only the tills we had were 100,000 followers as a toe reveal. I could. They say the word shite. I don't know if I should say shite. Shite. Is that a common thing you guys say in the UK? Shite? Holy shite, mate. Absolute shite. Only the tills we had were absolutely terrible. So, this one Saturday night, I pop the till open and the whole drawer just comes off its hinges, subsequently refusing to slot back in. I'm stood there just rolling my eyes and calling this thing every name under the sun before I turn to one of the bar staff and ask them to go get the general manager for me. They do, and I'm left standing there like a human till drawer, because I can't just leave a load of cash sitting on the back bar with a load of drunk people hanging around. So, like I said, I'm stood there, just sort of looking around, making sure no one is pure eyeing me up to jump over. No one is pure eyeing me up? Is that a phrase? Ever thought about getting verified on the gram? Yeah, it's kind of weird though. Like, I don't know how you do it, to be honest. I mean, I've reached, I forget how many followers I have on Instagram, but I think I've reached the necessary number. But before, the only motivation for me to get verified on Instagram was so I could post links on my story. And then I got that just from, I think, from the amount of followers I had, so it didn't really matter. And now I don't really do the links on Instagram unless it's like a merch thing, because I feel like it actually kind of hurts the YouTube video whenever people like scroll up and then they back out, because it just registers it as like someone abandoning the video, I think, or something. So I am verified on OnlyFans. Very, very high profile there. And the dark web, yes. So like I said, I'm stood there just sort of looking around to make sure no one is eyeing me up to jump over the bar and grab a fistful of 20s. Just up from where I'm standing, there's a little flight of stairs going up to a round bar where we'd serve cocktails and whatnot. Only it's not all that busy, so the bar isn't manned. Point being, I can't see exactly what's going on up there, so when this bloke walks past the round bar, lifts one of the little red leather stools above his head, and throws it down to the floor. I don't see exactly what happened, only that something really dodgy is going on. Now, I should have probably just stayed with the money, but if this fellow is in a furniture-throwing mood and has already done some damage, I need to know just what he's done, then tell the door staff so they can get behind this belled out of the bell end. I'm not used to seeing the word bell end in the wild there, so let me redo that. Get that vitamin C. Inga, Moonchild, welcome, welcome. Now, I should have probably just stayed with the money, but if this fellow is in the furniture-throwing mood, fuck. Now, I probably should have just stayed with the money, but if this fellow is in the furniture-throwing mood and has already done some damage, I need to know just what he's done, then tell the door staff so they can get this bell end out of the bar. So I put the till down on the floor, tell the one remaining member of bar staff with me to guard it with their life, then jog up to the round bar to look over to see what had just happened. What I see makes my jaw drop. Sitting on the red leather benches there, out of sight of where I'd been standing with the till drawer in my hand, are two girls. One is absolutely wailing. I'd have heard her if it wasn't for the loud music in the bar, and the other is trying to comfort her. Then I notice that the wailing girl's mouth is absolutely pouring with blood, and I put two and two together. The fellow had grabbed one of the stools, raised it up to his head, and smashed this girl in the mouth with it. I immediately jump up over the bar, rush over to the girl, and kneel down to see just how bad the damage is. And I'm not messing. It looked like she opened up a bottle of tomato juice, emptied it into her gob, and then it just set it. And then it just set it dribble. What the fuck? Also, does this have anything to do with retail? I'm confused. And I'm not messing. It looked like she opened up a bottle of tomato juice, emptied it into her gob. Anybody else got a gob? And then just set it oh, okay. I'm not messing. It looked like she opened up a bottle of tomato juice, emptied it into her gob, and then just let it dribble out of her mouth. There was just a hideous amount of blood and tissue streaming out of this girl's face. Then right as I'm about in front of her, she looks at me through these tearful eyes and spits out a load of her own teeth onto the floor in front of me. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like I'd seen a fair few bar fights while working there, but absolutely nothing like the kind of injuries she sustained. So I just bowled into action, legging it after the fellow that had hit her in the face. I run into the front area of the bar, recognize this fellow's orange shirt, then just leap to grab hold of him so he can't keep... Let me let the cat out real quick. Architect with the 7 Canadian says, just take all my monies, and I will listen to all the stories because it takes away all my worries. Oh, I'm glad. And thank you, Architect. Thank you, thank you. And Anthony with the 5 says, holy hell, I've been gone for a bit. Yeah, Anthony, where you been, my dude? I will be right back. I gotta let this cat out.
Hey, listen.
He does this thing now, like he wants outside, and then as soon as I go to let him in, he jumps up on the bed and like falls over. And I don't know what his plan is. He just has no plan. He's just doing cat stuff. No plan, just being cat. Oh shit. You want a cat, but your fiance says no. Dude, just go for it. They're pretty easy. They're like the easiest animal out of everything. You want a fat cat? You want a chonker? He's not a chonker. He just got diabetes. Anthony with a 5. In all honesty, I've been getting ready to go back to Afghanistan. Really? Wait, I thought... I swear I just saw earlier some interesting news out of there where it was like... Defense Secretary... Let me just check real quick. And you can verify this. Yeah. Defense Secretary formally announces withdrawal of U.S. troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. Is that not true? Because that was just today, like 8 hours ago, that I saw that pop up. Unless you like have something more like low key that you participate in the military there or something like that, but IDK. Anyways, just let me know. It's strange. Anthony with a 5 says, I got a job as civilian as protectional oh, okay, like private security. Okay. Interesting. That's different. That is very different. You must be a super soldier then. One of them special ops types. Thank you for the 5. I run into the front area of the bar, recognize this fellow's orange shirt, then just leap to grab hold of him so we can keep him in place for the police to come nick him. But I'm sort of in shock while I'm doing this. Like I literally cannot believe he's just done that to a girl, and for apparently no reason. So I'm just like, you just hit that girl. Why'd you do that? What are you thinking, man? And he's looking back at me, just reacting to what... Oh, okay. Oh, Anthony, you're not in the military anymore. Okay, so it's like a totally unrelated thing to the actual military. Okay. Interesting. A spec ops? No, never. Okay. Thank you for the 5. Sorry.
Hey, listen.
He's a mercenary. He's gone rogue. He's like John Rambo over there. He's going to bring the good news of Let's Read to all the locals. And he's looking back at me, just not reacting to what I'm saying at all. Turned out he was French and he didn't understand what I was saying, especially since if he did speak any English, he definitely didn't understand my Scouse accent. And I'm still staring him in the face when he just sort of looks over my shoulder in the sort of way people do that makes your brain go like, you should really look behind you right about now. So I turn and see the bloody mouth girl walking towards us with an upturned and empty bottle of Beck's in her hand. At first I think she's going to smack this fellow with it, which he definitely deserved, but I'm not going to pass my probationary period as bar supervisor if I just let people just kick the life out of each other, am I? So I step forward and put both hands up like, don't do it, love, expecting her to try to move around me so she can bottle the bloke. Only she doesn't try to move around me. She looks me dead in the eye, blood still pouring from between her lips. She's not crying anymore either. She just looks furious. I mean, the look in her eye was absolutely terrifying. She looked nothing short of psychopathic. She then raises the bottle above her head and charges me. I immediately, whoa, it wasn't me. But it's no good. In her mind, she's made up, and she brings that bottle down at me with all the force she can muster, swinging it vertically, directly at the right side of my face and neck. It was the kind of swing that could have had the bottle smashing in my face, broken glass raking down my eyeball and cheek before slicing right into my carotid artery. That's the Kill Bill cut. The kind that has blood squirting out of your neck with every beat of your heart. If she hit me there, that would have been it. I'd be dead on the floor of my own workplace in a matter of minutes. But you know how people say that time slows down when you're in that sort of situation? That's not entirely wrong, only it's not time slowing down, so much as your brain speeding up as a result of the adrenaline poured into your bloodstream. So, as I watched the girl start to bring the bottle down, somehow I found it in me to bring the outside edge of my right hand up to meet it. I didn't feel the glass of the bottle break in my hand. The whole thing just sort of disappeared from view, but at the same time, I just sort of knew some serious damage had been done. I remember gripping my wrist, cursing out loud and retreating back to the bar to assess the severity of the cut as the girl disappeared into the busy crowds that occupied the bar. I dreaded turning my head over to inspect the damage in that terribly human way that says, if I can't see it, it didn't happen, but I knew I had to. And it was only when blood began to pour onto the floor in front of me that I brought myself to look. Thank God I didn't before that, because the broken bottle had cut so deep that I've been able to see deep into the muscle of my hand, and that's definitely something I didn't want to have to look at. While another member of staff rushed. Anthony with the 5 says, "The killer dude got it." I don't. The killer dude got it. I'm confused. Agent 47, yeah. Thank you for the 5 again, Anthony. Sorry to. Thank you. The almighty egg. Just throw an egg at her. Yeah, that's honestly your best self-defense, a concealed carry for a couple eggs. I mean, you don't need a concealed carry for eggs, just right at their face. They had them in Resident Evil 4, remember that? You could like pick up a chicken egg and throw it at the enemies. Satan's so high, I can't see all that well. While another member of staff rushed to fetch security from the front doors, I wrapped my bloody hand in paper towels and held onto them to the stem. Been watching since 2015. Will welcome 5-year anniversary. While another member of staff rushed to fetch security from the front doors, I wrapped my bloody hand in paper towels and held onto them to stem the bleeding. That really should have been the end of the situation. I should have just waited for an ambulance to arrive, but the girl that could have killed me was probably still in the bar, and as much as she too needed medical attention, I couldn't just let her get away with such a vicious and violent assault. So I asked my 2 members of the security team to accompany through the throngs of people in an attempt to find her, and also the guy that had hit her in the face with that little stool thing. It was only when I was wading through the crowds of dancing drunks that I realized just how stupid of me it was to be doing such a thing. There came a moment when I realized that in the low lights of the club rooms, with revelers who all basically looked the same after a while, that she could have been anywhere. It was like that scene in the second Jurassic Park movie with the long grass and the raptors. The crowds were the long grass, and she was a raptor. She could sneak up on me through a crowd like a freaking Assassin's Creed game, and I'd be absolutely none the wiser until she was right up on me. And the next time, I might not have been lucky enough to be able to defend myself so readily. The next bottle could have cut into my throat or face, and I'd have life-changing injuries, maybe even life-ending injuries. It was an absolutely terrifying realization, and the more it dawned on me, the harder it got to breathe. I found myself hyperventilating by the time I powered it back towards the bar into relative safety, telling the security staff to just look for the girl with a bloody mouth. It was about then that I saw blue flashing lights through the large glass windows of the club's street entrance. Another member of the bar team gathered up my belongings from the staff room, then accompanied me to the ambulance, which then drove me to the hospital after doing some preliminary bandaging of the wounds. Then came the long wait in the accident and emergency waiting room at like 3 on a Sunday morning. Wait times at British NHS hospitals can be bad enough at the best of times, but at a time like that, they can be almost unbearable, and not because of the boredom, because my time there was anything but. Wait, what? My time there was anything but. I'm confused. Kevin Gomez with the 10 says, every time I see Hannah name in the chat, I keep hearing Woody from Toy Story saying, oh, Hannah, try to help Buzz from the sister. Good evening, by the way, Mr. Joel. Thank you, Kevin. I'm confused. What is it? What was it? Is oh, Hannah, try to help Buzz from the sister. You keep hearing Woody from Toy Story saying, oh, Hannah, Hannah, trying to help Buzz from the sister. I don't remember that. Maybe let me just look it up real quick, because I have no idea. I've seen Toy Story. Here we go. 30 seconds.
Really? That is so interesting. Would you like some tea, Mrs. Nesbit?
Buzz!
It's so nice you could join us on such late notice.
Oh, no.
What a lovely hat, Mrs. Nesbit. Goes quite well.
Hannah! Oh, Hannah!
Mom?
Okay.
Please excuse me, ladies. I'll be right.
Hannah, oh, Hannah. Oh, Hannah. Coley, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Do I not know the quote? No, I have not seen Toy Story, and I have no idea how long, but I don't remember the oh, Hannah part. Oh, Hannah. This place was, and not because of the boredom, because my time there was anything but. I'm confused by this sentence. Wait times at British NHS hospitals can be bad enough at the best of times, but at a time like that, they can be almost unbearable. And not because of the boredom, because my time there was anything but. The place was abuzz with people with some fairly horrific but non-life-threatening wounds. Drunks groaned, cradling their shattered hands or sporting pretty grievous-looking head wounds. A pair of women, one of which looked so beaten up she could barely stay conscious, talked openly about being... Can't say prostitutes. But basically, they're prostitutes. In case you were wondering. Good, I'm going to edit it here. A pair of women, one of which looked so beaten up she could barely stay conscious, talked openly about being ladies of the night, so to speak. I just tried to keep my head down and avoid making eye contact with anyone. But once I was finally seen, my doctors and nurses, Dude, there's just like little like random spelling errors that fuck me up. It's just annoying. But once I was finally seen by doctors and nurses, they were as good as gold. I mean, the doctor who saw me had to actually cut off a section of flesh from my hand, which I could still sort of feel despite the injection of local anesthetic, which was extremely blood-grim. But they were amazing nonetheless. After the stitches, met with some police officers who had been waiting outside of A&E for me to emerge. I thought it might have been good news, that they managed to arrest both offenders and were looking to take a witness statement from me. But neither person had been caught. They'd apparently both managed to slip out of the bar undetected. But the cops had managed to question some friends of theirs, and as it turned out, they were a couple. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was a classic case of someone trying to get involved in a domestic argument. The couple just turned on the person trying to intervene. So despite there being very little in the way of conclusion to the story, in the way that a lot of stuff like this has no closure to it, there is one definitive lesson to glean from it. Never get involved in a domestic. Just keep your distance, call the police, and let them handle it. Because I'm telling you from experiencing it here, injecting yourself into a situation... Elliot, have a good night, dude. You're a graphic designer, Nancy. That's cool. Lena, thank you. Because I'm telling you from experience, Injecting yourself into a situation like that might not just end in a little loss of your faith in humanity. It could just as easily end with you losing your life. That was story 1. Not really sure how much that was retail. I mean, is fucking are bars considered retail? I guess that's businesses. The name bar became identified with businesses, also known as a saloon or tavern. Sometimes is a retail business establishment that serves out. Yeah, I guess that's retail. I just was thinking like general stores, like whatever. We'll put it at the end. So, well, they post more woods horror stories. Yeah, you guys need to get out into the woods. You're supposed to be writing a paper, but you got priorities. Good. Bars or hospitality. Okay. Whatevs. Same old shit. Injecting yourself into the Nintendo Switch. Please do be careful with that, too. Hey, boss. Have a good night. Sup, Joel? Swad lore your stories, God bless you. Us seems like the end of times. Prefer slow y'all. Michael Perez, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been doing that a lot lately too, where I like type a text and then I'll look at it after I send it and I'm missing, or like, I don't know, I'm just like missing like 4 words, multiple words like throughout the, or just like making way more, you know, typing mistakes than I normally would. It's just strange. Kim, you're just in time for story 2 of 5. We're just starting now. You're trying to donate, but it won't let you. That's weird. There's also another way to donate if you care to down below. It's through Streamlabs. There's a link in the description. I think it's done through like PayPal kind of or something of that nature. But no worries either way. Thanks for the consideration. Almost got punched out by a guy over the price of a watch. That's crazy. Yeah, send Durf some poop. Where is she? She's lazy. Feels like you're on the phone with someone. Hello, hello. I used to work at a place called O'Hurley's General Store here in Shepherdston, West Virginia. It was a real old-timey general store, the kind that sells everything from buckets and barrels to books and pocket watches, in addition to the regular selection of groceries and liquor. It was an all-right job for a young man such as myself, patronized by generally polite and well-meaning folk. Sure, I had a fair few drunks get a little rowdy when I wouldn't sell them hard liquor on a Sunday, but nobody ever put a gun in my face. But that ain't to say that I didn't have 1 or 2 incidents in there that put the fear of God into me, and this here is one of them. So I'm working late on one Saturday night, stacking shelves and cleaning house, when a man walks in wearing a black-tailored suit. Back-tailored suit or black? It says back-tailored suit, but I assume it's black. I can check. Google, just give me your infinite wisdom. Yeah, I don't think there's a back-tailored suit. Michael Perez with the 2 says, "What's up? Oh, goff bless, my phone missing up." Goff bless you, Michael. Thank you for the 2. Patrick with the 5. Thanks, Pat. Oh, there it is. It worked. Yeah, sometimes, nice. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a delay sometimes with it, but thank you, Patrick. Selling people's souls is considered retail? I think so. Where do you get those? Do they mass produce them in China? John Cloyce. I don't even know how you say that. What's up? Anna, no, I feel ya. I feel ya. I feel ya. So I'm working late one Saturday night, stacking shelves and cleaning house, when a man walks in wearing a black tailored suit. It was one of those that fit him like a glove and gave off an obvious air of wealth, which marked him as an out-of-towner in my book. But that suit was just about the only normal thing about him. He was white as the cotton fields, so pale he was almost gaunt, with razor-sharp facial features and slick-back silver hair. I hear the little bell on the front entrance tinkle, so I do my thing and walk back behind the counter to serve him, which is where I laid eyes on him. He walks up to me, and with this wolfish smile on his lips, asks me for a can of lighter fluid. I fetch him what he asked for, making a little small talk as I ring him up on the register. I asked him where he's from. D.C., he replies, just passing through. I gave him a polite smile and asked him if he was one of those politician types, to which he gives the vague reply of something like that. He then proceeds to take out the biggest roll of dollar bills I'd ever seen in my life, all hundreds from what I could tell, then places one down on the counter in front of me. I give the man his change, remarking that it's a good thing it had been a busy previous few hours, or he'd have wiped me out for change. I said it in this fairly jokey tone, expecting him to at least give a polite chuckle in return, but he doesn't so much as smirk. He just takes out the Zippo lighter from his suit pocket, just about the shiniest I'd ever seen, and proceeds to fill it up with the lighter fluid right there in front of me. I've seen a fair few of those lighters in my time, but never one that I could have sworn was plated with silver. Plated, shit. Alexandria House has become a full-grown pizza and a member of the Buttersock called. Everyone welcome Alexandria. Thank you, thank you. And LaFay with the 2. Thank you, LaFay. How's everyone feeling? You're the goat of the narrative world, my opinion. Thank you. Well, I try me best. Try me best. Hookers and gravy. Oh, that's a breakfast of champions. Oh my goodness. Dea M with the $20 says, Omaga wish it's been a while since I've made it to one of your streams. Gotta make it rain a little before I fall asleep. Well, thank you, Dea, so much. I really, really do appreciate it. That's a big one of the night so far, so thank you. Thank you, thank you. I hope I'm definitely making it rain. It'll be a nice trickle as you pass into the dreamland. Garcias. Also, I didn't. Yeah, what is Omaga? Oh my gosh! I totally read that wrong. I was like, I thought it was like an anime thing for a second. Omaga wish. Oh my gosh! It's been. I'm an idiot. Thank you again. How the hell do I get my face in the bubble? Oh, do you mean like the profile picture? I think it's something you have to edit from, perhaps in your email through your Google account. You know what I mean? Because it's all these accounts are through like Google and stuff. Elon Musk badass sent first space rocket. NASA jealous case they're hiding something up there. Michael, what's up with that phone, dude? You had a southern omelet with sausage gravy this morning. Damn, son, where'd you get that? I've seen a fair few of those lighters in my time, but never one that I could have sworn was plated with silver. I figured he must have been hankering for a smoke, something fierce, and I told him as such, but he replied that he didn't smoke. Right as he says that, he finishes up filling up his lighter, but not before accidentally spilling a little of the lighter fluid onto his finger. Then just before he pieces the shiny-looking Zippo back together, He brings the finger to his mouth and sucks the drop of flammable liquid from his finger like it was a drop of homemade wine or something. Now, naturally, I quietly recoil when he does that, not quite being able to believe what I just witnessed. He sees me do so and shoots me another one of those wolfish grins like he enjoyed the idea of freaking me out like that. I was just on the verge of asking him. Florida man uses crocodile as weapon. He did in the last story on the last story of the Florida man stories. Barbie's bored. Huh, nice. I'd like to figure out how to make like the streams more entertaining, you know what I mean? Like more, cause I mean, it's all focused around the reading, you know what I mean? The stories and that kind of stuff, and then basically I'm just like, in between I'm kind of like waiting for one of you guys to say something that'll get me going on a tangent that I can actually provide some sort of discussion feedback of sorts, but sometimes it's just kind of like people are having conversations and stuff, so I can't really like chime in. You made omelet tacos for dinner. That does sound pretty good. I make you melt. But yeah, if anybody ever has any ideas on how to sing, I did earlier. If anybody has any like ideas for like how the stream could be better, I'm always ears. If I juggle, yeah. Honestly, that would be sick. I actually did learn how to juggle for a brief period of time in college. I think I would still have like the muscle memory to do so with like 3 balls. 3 balls. Start doing the mistake count again. Yeah, we can start now. We'll go with 1. Owen, you are in charge of mistake counting. Or anybody. Anybody can do it. Brittany, you don't get bored? I'm glad. The Buttersocks Militia. Here's a subject. Disclosure Project Press Conference 2001 in May. I think you'd have to elaborate on what you're talking about there. Did I get the PS5? No, my roommate was like highly coveting the PS5, and from what it sounds like, it's pretty scarce as far as getting it. He's been waiting on like Walmart.com, at fucking Target, and all those places and stuff. And I guess because of the COVID scare, like, you know, they don't want a bunch of people waiting in line to get it and like just like crowding the store waiting for it, so they do all your orders online, and then, you know, depending on where they send them, they'll like, you know, I don't know how it works, but it's all done online, I guess. Talk about your love life, we wants to know. I guess it's just like non-existent, maybe? I don't know. Have you ever thought about diving into conspiracy theories? You know, I do personally, you know what I mean? I think everybody kind of like ends up on that weird side of the internet from time to time, or at some point in their life, you know what I mean? But the YouTube doesn't take too kindly anymore to doing conspiracy theories, you know what I mean? I guess like, what's his name, Shane Dawson, whenever he was popular, like, he got away with that just because, you know, he was massive, so it was kind of hard for YouTube to crack down on his shit. But it seems as if, though, they're just kind of like distancing themselves from like anything that's like abnormal, I guess, or like deviates from like normie culture or whatever. Jessica Reynolds with the 5 says, first found you in 2016, and you've traveled the UK motorways with me ever since. Sending love and appreciation. XXX. Thank you, Jessica. I was like, have I been to the UK? I don't think. But then, yeah, I've been right there in the captain's quarters. Thank you, Jessica. Do I think Bigfoot is real? Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, like, when you think about it, like some sort of, what's his name? The guy who, it wasn't Bear Grylls, but it was the other guy who used to be popular around that time that like filmed all of his stuff himself, which seemed like a huge pain in the ass, like Survival Man or something like that. And he talked about his experiences with like Bigfoots. He had about 2 of them, and you know, whenever he described it in the context, like imagining that some sort of bipedal, you know, large, plane-dwelling ape creature that was very scarce in its population and intelligent enough to know to avoid humans, I think to a large degree that it would make sense, you know what I mean, to, you know, that they would exist, at least at the very least exist, you know, or exist at one point. I can't say that there's a lot of them. Then said, Joel, did you read Brooklyn's comment? No, what did it say? They were kind of going fast there for a bit. Game streams would be cool, even horror or why or why Luigi. Naked and Afraid, yeah. That's me right now. Or maybe all of you. Everyone here is naked and afraid currently. Bigfoot is safe. Yeah, I mean, I do still have, like, a Bigfoot video up. I mean, it just depends, like, basically if you delve into the world of anything that's considered even remotely political, it doesn't, you know, besides the fact that, like, most of the population is relatively split on their perceptions on stuff, there's also the personal politics, I guess, or stances of the platform that you operate on that you have to be aware of as well. So if anything dives into that realm, whether it's left or right, you have to be careful on how you present topics, because I've noticed that a lot of, like, political channels tend to get completely demonetized or taken down in general, you know what I mean? So it's like, I have no desire to really delve into that content anyways. I think there's plenty of other people that are much more well-read, I suppose, or educated, that I'm sure all of you guys frequent if you're even into that kind of stuff. But getting in, if I ever were to stumble into, like, anything conspiratorial that actually would be of benefit to anybody's mind or consideration that is happening in real time, obviously that would just end up kind of like fucking over my channel. I think we can just assume that that's the case, because, you know, but I think for me, existing within the world of, like, stalkers and, like, ghosts kind of stuff, you know what I mean, and, like, maybe talking about experiences with Bigfoot, like, talking about Bigfoot isn't going to be, like, stepping on any, like, 3-letter agencies like toes, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be like, I don't know if we should reveal to the people about Bigfoot, you know, because nobody gives a shit about, like, a stinky ape that wanders the plains of fucking Oregon or Canada or some shit like that. At least politically, they don't care. Should do reading of Pennsylvania stories. There are plenty of creeps around there. Yeah. Pennsyltucky. Ghost hunting live. Yeah, no thanks. I feel like I could, but I imagine those people probably bring a lot of that stuff, like, back with them. You know what I mean? Bigfoot, big fart. That's kind of a guarantee. All right, moving on. But I do appreciate you guys asking stuff. Like, don't feel bad discuss anything you want, ask any questions you want. Not going to offend me, and just be, you know, if you have the discussions, you know, with each other, just be conscientious of each other's perceptions and non-judgmental and open-minded, because that's the only way that discussions can happen, is if people don't close their minds to them instantaneously or try to, like, shut each other down. Because, and I understand, like, the more serious conversations are difficult to have in, like, a, you know, a live stream chat, because sometimes it's moving kind of fast and you think you gotta, like, say something really, like you're not gonna say something intelligent in the span of, like, 5 words. Like, it's just, especially if your emotions get involved with it. So if something does get serious, just take it to, like, that's why I made the Discord, so you can go have conversations with each other in private there or whatever, you know. But for the most part, we just want to have fun here, you know what I mean? Let's just have fun. I really have no time for the sort of divisionary concepts that exist within the political spectrum, because to me, most of it's just used to divide people. So and if we don't recognize that, we're only going to perpetuate it further down the line. And you know, the fuck's the point of that? You know what I mean? It's not like you're changing anything by hating somebody. You know, you literally can't change anything with hate, like especially on the individual level, on the micro level. But etc., etc. Moving on. I was just on the verge of asking him what that was all about when I hear the doorbell of the general store tinkle again. I look over towards the front entrance, and in walks this young lady who looks to be about the same age as my little sister. Couldn't have been no older than about 14 years old. Only she's dressed much younger, almost like how you'd expect a toddler to dress, in this denim skirt type thing with white embroidered flowers on it. She addresses him as Daddy, so I figured it was his daughter, and tells him she needs to use the bathroom. The man in the suit then turns to me, asks if there's a bathroom that his daughter can use, so I give him the key to one that we had inside the store. Only instead of just handing it to his kid, he takes out a little... Daddy... Oh, this story's getting weird, bro. Please never make music with corpse. Why not? I really like music. You know, I've always thought it'd be a fantastic pastime to like, or hobby to get involved in, like making beats or some sort of expressive art form of music making. But why? Yeah, why wouldn't you want me to make music with Corpsey Boy? Corpsey Boy. Have I ever collaborated? Yeah, we collaborated not frequently, but it's been a long ass time, you know. I think I was on his channel at one point, and he was on mine like very early in his YouTube career. Honestly, right around the time he first made his first ever deep web video, I featured him on the channel doing a creepypasta, so. But honestly, it's been relatively non-existent since then. But we just, mainly just because we're two different people doing different stuff in life, you know. You have a choice to join the Discord or join the Discord. Those are your choices. If you don't choose Discord, then you should join the Discord. Sugar Daddy. I feel like the Sugar Daddy like thing, like I get like the term, you know what I mean? People say daddy and stuff. It's spoopy daddy, yeah. But like I feel like contemplating the idea of being somebody's like primary source of finances in that context, that just seems like such a headache, you know what I mean? Because like, how do you know that somebody cares about you if like their sole purpose is just to like slowly drain you of your finances, you know what I mean? Like that seems like the typical like, just the typical, you know, like toxic relationship, you know what I mean? Choke me like you hate me, ba 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 be, ba ba poopy. You think his music is a bit of a novelty? Yeah, I mean, like I remember briefly saying, like when I heard his music, I briefly messaged him and he did respond where I said like, hey man, I think that you do have an opportunity here with your music to, if you're able to somehow market it to a large enough audience, like that sort of like Ghost Main, like Suicide Boys style of like dark hip hop, where it's relatively like violent and in your face kind of thing, maybe a little bit like edgy or emo or whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm not trying to detract from it. I'm just trying to give it labels that someone would be able to like kind of understand through the linguistic fashion, you know. But like, I do think that has an opportunity for blowing up at some point, you know what I mean, as far as into the mainstream. I mean, I don't know if that's anybody's goal as like a musical artist right out the gate, but if someone were within the musical, you know, realm who knows how to market somebody, knows how to, you know, really push them out and give them the platform that they need to succeed, whether it be like somebody like who, you know, Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, all those types of like characters, they have, you know, they have producer, or not producers, but they have like a record label. If those record labels recognize the potential for a new genre, a new sound, they already know the hip hop is successful. But if you start to manifest that Ghost Main and Suicide Boy, and now like to a degree Corpse's sound into more of a mainstream presentation, it would be a little bit of a stretch, but I think it's possible that it's something that has been relatively untapped, and I could see it growing substantially larger. But what the fuck do I know? The new Billie music video. Yeah, I mean, I don't listen to Billie Eilish or anything like that. So, Marie, you sent a story. I think Billie Eilish has a pretty face. Like, I think her eyes are really nice. She's got like blue eyes and shit. That's pretty cool. I've always been jealous of people with like blue eyes because they're just like fucking explosive. You know what I mean? They're just like in your face. Like you can't help but stare at them creepily. But you know, I've got various tastes, and they just don't really dive in that direction per se. Okay. Only instead of just handing it to his kid, he takes out a little leather wallet-looking thing from his jacket and hands that, the lighter, then the key to the little lady, who then makes her way off towards the door before locking it behind her. I started to feel incredibly uncomfortable. Something about the whole situation just didn't sit right with me at all. I had a sneaking suspicion of what was contained inside the small leather wallet thing, but I didn't feel like I was in any position to confront the suited man on it, especially not based solely on a hunch. But it wasn't just that. The kid looked absolutely nothing like him. She had these soft, rounded, delicate features along with real curly hair, while the suited man's face was so sharp he looked like he could have cut a swath through a pumpkin patch. And the way she called him Daddy, a girl that age should be well on to calling her father Dad, Pop, or anything but Daddy. I tried to distract from my discomfort by asking him where he and his daughter were headed. "You ask a lot of questions, don't you, young man?" he replied, dropping what had once been a kind of formal civility entirely, and proceeded to stare a hole through me. His eyes, man. He had these narrow brown eyes so dark that were almost black, and I felt a shudder run through me as he fixed his gaze to mine. "Just making conversation," I remember saying back to him, shifting nervously behind the counter. "Well, you know how the old saying goes, don't you?" His voice was smooth, just creepily calm, like there was no emotion behind it whatsoever. Curiosity killed the cat. The suited man turned, then started walking up and down the aisles, eyeing up the products like we were some quaint backwater relic, which I suppose was exactly what we were. I get back to cleaning house for a minute or two, only it's more just going through the motions while I keep an eye on what this guy's doing. I figured it'd only be a minute or two before his kid emerges from the bathroom, and they fix to get back on the road. But 5 minutes goes by, then 10, and still no sign of her. Just as I'm about to ask him if he thinks she's okay in there, the bathroom door unlocks with a loud snap, and the girl opens up. And oops. Oh, a lighter. Yikes, dude. What if she was doing some fucking shit in there, you know what I mean? Oh, and he would have been, and if call him Daddy, that would mean it's like a pimp scenario. Yikes. Yikers. Yikerino. Joel, you can DJ lo-fi horrorcore. Is that possible? Dude, maybe. Oh, no, I mean, okay, so horrorcore, lo-fi horrorcore, I'm telling you guys, Ryan Celsius Sounds, he's like one of my favorite, and I'm sure there's many other like him, but the way he does it is just so dope. It's like trap, but like remixed, and he utilizes, like, he makes his own beats, but utilizes like hip hop artists, like with their voices altered and stuff to sound like really crisp. But if you go to Ryan Celsius Sounds on YouTube, he always has a stream going, and that's kind of got like, there's a mixture of like that horrorcore lo-fi sort of sound. Like it's very dark, you know what I mean? And there are other options there that have a lot of like horror based themes, but on his Instagram he's like always grinding on new beats and new productions and stuff. Keisha, thank you. I'm glad you're a fan. Welcome. Just as I'm about to ask him if he thinks she's okay in there, the bathroom door unlocks with a loud snap and the door opens up. There's no flush, nothing to indicate she'd actually been using the bathroom for its intended purpose, and when she emerges, she seems all sleepy and dozy looking. Then she hands back the keys, the lighter, and the black leather wallet to the suited man in a daze before giving him a lazy-sounding, "Thank you, Daddy." The way she said it right then, I knew he wasn't her father, and it was dripping with sleaze. And the look he gave her in return was one a father should never, ever give his daughter under any circumstances. It made me sick to my stomach, and I wanted a pair of them. Nice, you subscribed to Ryan. Yeah, Ryan's a great guy too. Always like working hard on new stuff, and a really, really creative person. You think I'm awesome like a possum? Dude, possums are pretty cool though. I don't know if I can be that swell. You have a big purple eye on the back of your head? Whoa. Have anyone ever publicly recognized me from my voice? You know, they have not. Though, when I went through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru and stuff, I told this story before, but I went on a date with one of the girls from Dunkin' Donuts, and like, I remember her mentioning later on after, you know, the date that she said my voice was always like very recognizable, and she always really liked it whenever she would hear it through the drive-thru thing. Hello, I'd like a big, tall coffee, and perhaps a power breakfast sandwich. Bitch. Just kidding. Nikki, what's up? Albuquerque in the house. Maybe all like Mayday Parade. What's that? Have I ever been ridiculed for having a YouTube channel? I don't think so. I mean, I've definitely, a lot of people like didn't believe that I could make a living out of doing stuff on YouTube and podcasting. Like, they always just kind of thought it was like a joke, you know what I mean? I remember my grandpa once saying, like, and you know, I didn't really interact with them a lot, but like, I just remember it was, I guess in this scenario, it wasn't necessarily a ridicule, but it was like more that he was amazed. He was like, I remember I'd had to sell a whole acre of corn to make, you know, a living or something, you know what I mean? And then he's like, and you're just reading stories online, huh? But but yeah, and even like some really close friends, like whenever I'd be recording or something, like they'd be like banging on my door, and I'm, you know, I'd be like, dude, I'm making like a video, and like, who fucking cares, dude? Let's go do something, you know? And it's like, I don't know, trying to explain to them after the period of time that I was, you know, trying to explain to them that, like, after all that time, they still didn't understand that my career was this. It was weird. It was like, how did they not realize? But yeah, I mean, I started out just like, I started reading because I thought that reading wasn't very prominent on YouTube, and it was something different, and it was something I could do a lot of, you know what I mean? And then I stumbled across the creepypasta community and just kind of followed its suit there, and became, you know, based off of a channel based off of that. Stop seducing the girl. I'm sorry. Leslie with a 5 says, this is me bullying. Oh my god. Ridiculing me. with your money. The reverse, give me all your lunch money. Instead, I'm going to donate my lunch money to you. Thank you, thank you. Time to make the donuts. Fuck, donuts sound fucking good. The one thing I should probably have too much Dunkin' Donuts, honestly. It's so fucking good and addictive. But I would get, the one day I got this fucking pumpkin spice, or it wasn't pumpkin spice, it was like a pumpkin muffin. And every part of it was so fucking good. And like the top of it, like it would just like, I could barely eat it because it was just like crumbling in the pieces like everywhere on my car floor. So I had to like, once I got home, I like didn't even get out of my car, I just ate it on the side of my like car, like open up my door and let the crumbs just like fall into my driveway. Whatever. Give the fucking squirrels something to munch on. Plain glazed are the best donuts. You know, one time I won a donut eating contest with some friends that were into like fitness and shit like that. So like, you know, we ran a mile around this like huge track, and then all of us had to eat a dozen donuts, and then we had to run another mile after eating the dozen donuts. And all of them are kind of like amateurs when it comes to like mass consuming food, whereas I sort of, I don't know, I just like to shovel food into my mouth all the time. So when it came to eating donuts, I was just doing like 2 at a time, just fucking housing them. And then like, even though I was literally the slowest person to finish the first jog, just the sheer fact that I could like just pound donuts, and they were just like struggling and getting ready to puke. You know, I downed them. I was like, all right, I feel pretty good. And then just like kind of trotted to victory. It was like the old tortoise versus the hare story, except it involved Krispy Kremes. Barf marathon. Yeah, and I didn't feel bad afterwards. I almost felt like the running actually like enhanced my digestion. It's like, oh, it's like pushing it down through. Blah, blah, blah. Joel is Kirby, confirmed, true. Would you draw while you read? That would be cool. I don't even know if I could. I wouldn't be able to do that, I guess, because my eyes would be on, you know, the words, so I wouldn't be able to like have my eyes on my words and the drawing part. But that would be neat. I always thought it'd be cool to have like in the background here have somebody doing something whilst I'm reading, you know, like either showing somebody else's stream on the screen, like them playing a video game, or just reading, etc. But yeah, we're almost done with this story here. It made me sick to my stomach, and I wanted the pair of them out of my store immediately. But we rarely just come out and say something like that where I'm from. We'll say something with an implication, if you catch my drift. Safe travels now, I remember saying to the suited man. My tone was friendly, but the look I gave him was not. He turns and looks at me like he was about to go through me for shortcut, like he could have eaten me without salt there and then. Then he walks up to the counter, places the bathroom key down on top of it, and says one final thing to me. Remember, young man, curiosity killed the cat. And then he walks that little lady out of the store, and then drove off into the night. I seriously considered calling the sheriff right after they left. But what was I going to tell him? That a man was traveling with a girl that appeared to be his daughter? I'd be laughed off right there and then. Oops. I'd be laughed right off the line. I could have mentioned that I thought that there was something illegal in the leather wallet that he'd handed her, but I got the distinct impression that nothing could ever accuse him of was Whoops. Sorry. But I got the distinct impression that nothing we could ever accuse him of was really going to stick. He had all that money, and that look he gave me too. So I didn't say a word to anyone. But for the remaining few hours of my shift, and for the next few days, I heard his words rattling around my skull whenever I paid any mind to him at all. Curiosity killed the cat. That was creepy. That was creepy. Satan was the imposter. GW, you love me so much, thank you. Satisfaction brought is back. Gluten-free donuts are not donuts. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever had a gluten-free donette. Turkey ice cream cakes are back and they are annoying to make. Turkey? Like in the shape of a turkey? Get behind me, Satan. Get behind me. Thank you, Marie. Appreciate that. Do a William Shatner voice. Wait, how does William Shatner? Captain's log. Captain's log. I can't believe I would even consider doing such an insane thing like that. If only I had a Pontiac Grand Am pulled into the gas station. The CCTV cameras recorded the driver stepping out of the vehicle and filling up on a gas tank before entering the main store. I don't know if that's... Honestly, I don't remember what his like actual voice sounds like. Do you have any advice for me to be able to start my own channel on this platform? Honestly, you need to... Okay, let's think. You need... What do you need? You need either a camera... You need a camera and a microphone, or just a microphone. You need to know how to use an video editing software, and potentially some like audio editing aspects as well. I use Sony Vegas to cut together my audio, and then I use Audacity, which is a free program, to like remove it. Honey bunny, what are you mad about? You're always mad. And then I have I have an H4n microphone here that I record into. I have my... Well, I'm streaming right now, so you're not concerned with that. But, yeah, you need vocal cords. It does help a little bit. It just depends on what kind of content you're trying to create. You know, anybody can do anything you really want. How much does YouTube pay? It just depends on, like, how much traffic you can generate. You know what I mean? Like, it's all based around, like, advertisements. But obviously, you guys donating and stuff really helps as well. Avery with the 2 says, hey, you handsome stinker, take my 2 moners. Thank you, Avery. Thank you for the stinky moners. You think you're lagging? Shit. Sometimes like refreshing the stream might help. Your allergies are killing you. Yeah, I don't know if I've been having allergies or what, or if it's like a transitionary season, but I've been sneezing like at random intervals, not like consistently, just like random times you wouldn't expect. You remember seeing the Wiggles more or the Doodle Bops? I don't think I've ever seen any of them. They seem dangerous. How do you say this name? Rollins? Rowlands? Let's see. It's like Rowlands. Pronounce.
The following pronunciation is
Roland.
Roland. Okay. Roland. This is story 3. Have I read a story that found it was on another channel? I subscribe to similar channels and I've heard duplicates. Yeah, I mean, basically a lot of people get stories either submitted to them or they ask permission on Reddit, and there'll be a lot of crossovers, so that is most likely going to happen a lot, but I guess you can kind of look at it if you just don't want to hear this story again. That's why I put timestamps so you can skip them. But also, you can kind of think of it as like hearing a particular song covered by another artist, you know what I mean? 41-year-old Leah Rollins was working the early shift at the Kozad... Oh, I don't know how to say this shit. Kozad Amako? Is that a fucking thing? fuck? Cozad, Nebraska?
Cozad.
Cozad?
Cozad.
That doesn't sound... Cozad? Anybody here from Nebraska knows how to say
Cozad.
Cozad or Cozad or... Yeah, sorry. Let me figure out how to say this shit, because it's like... Is Hannah still here? Because I feel like she actually would know how to pronounce this shit. Cozad? Cozad? Hypnotasing. With the two Canadians says, shut up and take my money, inserts fry meme here. That would be... I love that meme. Thank you, Hypno. Appreciate it. Now you guys want donuts. Alright, let me figure out how to pronounce this place. Oh yeah, somebody sent me a pretty good pronunciation. Oh yeah, it was... No, wait, not... Fuck, sorry. History... No. Download... No. Bookmarks. Yeah, pronunciation wit... Yeah, Forvo. Somebody sent me Forvo. I think they must have heard it during the stream. And that actually was like a really good website. So let me just... Hopefully they have... Cozad. Okay, cool. See, those, like, I think this is a cool website for pronunciation because it actually has somebody who has to go in and actually just, like, you know, user-generatedly, like, submit the pronunciation, which is pretty badass. Amico. It's probably Amico, I imagine.
Amico Cadiz.
Amico. Cozad Amico. Alright, double check real quick. Just because I know if I say it, somebody from Nebraska is gonna cut my head off.
So it was a nice day to just drive around, and we ended up in Newcastle, and we ended up at the Amico station.
Amico. Okay, Cozad Amico. Cool. Boom, 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 boom. We did it. We're forensic investigators suddenly. You guys all want donuts? I wonder how much 600 plus donuts... Well, I feel like we'd have to get 1,200 because everybody obviously would want more than... Everybody would want more than one. Dea with the $20 Renos again says, oh, maga wish. Okay, I'm sorry, I fall asleep now. No, thank you, Dea. My pronunciation is... My brain just takes me to some weird places, but thank you, Dea. And good night, sleep well. Do I have any advice to get exposure for a YouTube channel? Basically, you would want to do your best to just make content that's as good as possible right out the gate. Like, think of it more as like you're approaching it from like a business point, like how to market yourself in the sense of like having good thumbnails, a good profile picture, a good name, a good editing, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes a lot of people don't have success until they start their like second channel because they have to learn everything from their channel, you know, their first channel's experience, you know what I mean? So maybe even go into like creating your first channel as like think of it as like going in to get experience and figuring out as you go, and then once you figured that out, you can approach the second one with that type of expertise right out the gate, you know. But yeah, also collaborating with other people is a good way to do it, you know, and sometimes you can invest money with other channels to you know, to advertise with them and stuff. Just talk all night. I could. "41-year-old Leah Rollins was working the early shift at the Cozad Amico gas station on Highway 80 in Dawson County, Nebraska, on the morning of March 10th, 1997. She was a divorcee who was in the process of getting her life back together after an exceedingly messy divorce from her husband with whom she'd raised 2 sons, and given that she had been promoted to manager only a day before, it appeared as if though she was achieving exactly that. Friends described her as being generous, personable, and a generally good-natured person. Her husband had treated her abominably. Sorry, I thought I was going to say amicably. Her husband had treated her abominably in the aftermath of the separation in light of the fact that she had retained custody of the 2 boys. For the first time in years, things seemed to be going right for her, and she relished the fresh responsibilities of her new management position. But at around 10:30 a.m., a red Pontiac Grand Am pulled into the gas station forecourt. CCTV cameras recorded the driver stepping out of the vehicle and filling up on a tank of gas before entering the main store. The man seemed of average appearance, except for one seemingly minor detail. He was barefoot. As he entered, Leah was busy serving a mother and daughter pair, making small talk with the girls as she tendered their money and handed them their change. The barefoot man stood to the rear of the store, making himself inconspicuous as he seemed to wait for the mother and daughter to depart the business and drive away. He took a soda out of one of the fridges, cracked open the can, and began to drink it as he waited, at one point staring right up into the lens of one of the interior security cameras as he did so. Once the mother and daughter had driven away, the barefoot man calmly walked up to the counter where Leah was stood, took out a 9mm pistol, and pointed it at her. Sorry. Boston creams. Donut holes. You guys are on the donut kick now. Once the mother... Okay, there I am. Lost my place for a second. Once the mother and daughter had driven away, the barefoot man calmly walked up to the counter where Leah was stood, took out a 9mm pistol, and pointed it at her. Security footage was unable to catch exactly what he said, but judging from Leah's donut retail horror. Had to get like really specific. Security footage was unable to catch exactly what he said, but judging from Leah's subsequent actions, it appears he had told her to open the cash register and hand over its contents. Once the barefoot man had taken the cash from her, it appeared he ordered Leah to lie down on the ground behind the counter. She complied with his command while he proceeded to count the cash she had just handed him. Sorry, I keep fucking up these sentences and sounding like a fucking robot. Dunky Donies? Ever heard of Sugar Booger? I've heard of Booger Sugar, but not Sugar Booger. Once the barefoot man had taken the cash from her, it appears he ordered Leah to lie down on the ground behind the counter. She complied with his command while he proceeded to count the cash she had just handed him. Then out of nowhere, for no apparent reason, the barefoot man leans over the counter and fires 3 shots into Leah as she lay prone on the floor of the gas station. 3 shots that would kill her instantly. The barefoot men, god damn it. The barefoot man then simply walked back to his red Pontiac Grand Am and drove back off down the highway. Leah's friends and relatives were absolutely devastated upon hearing news of her death, but they were hopeful that justice would be swift since the police had a rather large amount of evidence to work from in order to identify and locate her killer. As he was mentioned previously, the barefoot man had actually stared up into the lens of one of the gas station's security cameras, so police had a pretty clear image of who they were looking for. A Caucasian male in his late 30s or early 40s with dark hair and eyes. His vehicle was quickly identified as a red Pontiac Grand Am, but given that it was lacking a front license plate and drove off at high speeds, it was impossible to make out any plate number. The bullets fired at the scene were identified as 9mm and fired from a small handgun, but unfortunately, the ballistics weren't identified. Fuck, man. Did you guys ever use those, what the fuck are they called? They just like spray, it's like put in your nose and it shoots like salt water like through your nose up into your sinuses to like clear everything out. I have one of those and it's amazing, and I would suggest it for anybody who gets sick to like use that along with something to like boost your immune system, and you can get pretty much over your symptoms relatively quickly. But I need to use that right now because my fucking nose is just getting like dried up, and it's like hard to like circulate air, you know what I mean, as I'm fucking reading and shit. One of the shots fired struck Leah. Neti pot, yeah. There's one. It's like a neti pot, but it's like not nasal spray. Nalgene, or yeah, I forget what it's called. But the neti pot's cool because you can just like turn your head and do it, and it kind of helps a little bit. But there's one that actually uses like a battery, and it like circulates like liquid from one nostril through the sinus into the other. And that one's sick because it just like you can do it multiple times. And cocaine, yeah, I think. And it just like fucking busts through the mucus, or at least eventually can like really get rid if you have like a mucus plug up in there, you know what I mean? Like some people get like a lot of mucus cut up in there that they're completely unable to get rid of. Do I even have a nose? I don't. Do I? Oh my god. I never thought about it that way. The bullets fired at the scene were identified as 9mm and fired from a small handgun, but unfortunately the ballistics weren't identified as matching that of any from other crime scenes that the police were aware of. The barefoot man also left a series of full fingerprint sets from the gas pump all the way to the counter, but again, they were found not to match any in police databases anywhere in the state of Nebraska. However, there was a detail regarding the shots that led police to believe that this was more than just a robbery turned violent. One of the shots fired struck Leah in the back of the head, and the CCTV footage showed the barefoot man apparently taking aim with his final shot, suggesting he had deliberately executed her and simply used the robbery as a cover for his true intentions: cold-blooded murder. Despite appealing for witnesses and tips from the general public, police received very little in the way of information, and that was given proof. What? There's like, it's so weird. There's just like little like grammar errors that fuck me up. And that was given proved unless, what? Police received very little in the way of information, and that was given proved and that was, oh. And that was given proved useless and identified. What was given? Why wouldn't it just be that was, and that proved useless? Whatever, doesn't matter. Hypno, see ya. Thanks again. Despite appealing for witnesses and tips from the general public, police received very little in the way of information, and that proved useless in identifying or locating the barefoot man. The CCTV footage from the gas station was even shown on the popular TV show America's Most Wanted, but even then, it proved impossible to identify their suspect. The simplest explanation for the crime was that it was nothing more than a violent robbery, as random as it was tragic, most probably perpetrated by someone who was simply passing through the area and needed some money. CCTV footage certainly supports the idea that it was a career criminal who committed the murder, given how confident and systematic his actions seemed to be. They were doubtless that this wasn't the first time he'd taken part in a violent robbery, nor would it be the last. This was top of the fact. This was on top of the fact that the case was remarkably similar to a handful of other apparently random murders where the victims were gas station workers, which proved just as difficult to solve. As police puzzled over the case, uncertain over the particulars of the murder, one person seemed certain that they knew who was responsible: Leah's brother, Roy Rowlands.
Jenna Rollins.
Beep bop boop boop. Beep bop 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 bay. Jenna Rollins. Wait, okay. As police puzzled over the case, D. Shore with the 11 buckaroonies says, Hey, D. Shore, what's up? How art thou? You're playing Among Us while listening? Nice. Nice.
Listen.
As police puzzled over the case, uncertain over the particular, Leah's brother, Roy Rowlands. Okay. Thanks again, D. Shore. Thank you. Are you possessed, that Animal Crossing dog? Leah's brother, Roy Rowlands, seemed to have absolutely no doubt that her ex-husband was somehow to blame for her death, suggesting that the motive was the messy divorce they had both suffered through during the previous few years. Her ex-husband, a man by the name of Barry Rocap Sr., owned and operated a successful restaurant on the U.S. Virgin Islands. He was a very wealthy man, and when Leah had left him, she had taken with her a sizable amount of money and secured a large alimony payment, given that she had custody of their 2 sons. Roy Rowlands also revealed to the police that his sister had also written their sons, who were young at the time of the divorce and confused over the reasons, a 16-page letter which explained her motives for leaving her father in the sudden and dramatic way that she did. The letter details years of torment and abuse that she suffered at his hands, and how she grew to be horribly afraid of his temper and violent nature. Upon seeing the CCTV footage on his sister's edition of America's Most Wanted, Roy became transfixed with the whole barefoot detail and insisted that this man was evidently some kind of hitman who was native to the tropical Virgin Islands and therefore comfortable with walking around in his bare feet. This hitman, according to Roy Rowlands, had been hired by Barry Rocap Sr. to murder his ex-wife in revenge for taking so much of his money, and so that custody of their 2 sons could be returned to him. Barry Rocap Sr. died in early 2015 and was never officially implicated in commissioning her murder, but he was also never officially ruled out either. However, the barefoot gunman was never found, and no clues to his identity were ever gleaned as a result of police investigations. His fingerprints, the ballistics information, and the CCTV remain on file, and the case is one of those remains Why do they make women so manly in video games? Never understood. Which ones? I guess, like, it depends on which ones you're talking about. Like, if they have to be, like, a main character, I assume there's probably, like, violence involved in the story. So, like, I don't know, they have to, like, make it plausible that they're, you know, similar to their male counterparts and able to, like, I guess, handle themselves physically or something. But very seldom do you see... I guess it all depends on the context of what the game is, because, you know, there's definitely other games where, it's not a violent game, and like the character is very like weak, both in like the male and female presentations, and the fact that like something like, what was the one where it was Alien? Remember the one Alien game where you're like running away from the alien? The main girl character, and that's I think relatively weaker, or at least presents like personalities that would be not necessarily sociopathic as they are like human in nature, or like scared of a big scary alien. And then also in what's that game, Outlast, you have that guy who's doing like investigative journalism and stuff, and he's just kind of like your conventional guy who's not like overly manly or anything like that. He's just terrified out of his mind, like running away from all the crazy shit. So I think it just depends on like the context in which the character has to exist, Alien Isolation, like like for Metroid, the female character kind of has to be tough because she's like a soldier, and then stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I'm sure that there are other like, there's always like, remember in Eco, if you remember in Eco, like the entire game you spend babysitting, the one princess or whatever the fuck her name is, you know what I mean? Like grabbing her hand and pulling her around the level. It's just like a giant escort mission the whole time, and I guess her character wouldn't necessarily be considered strong, but it just depends on the context, I guess, Alex with the 5 says, sorry this isn't much, but thank you for being so wonderful. Love you. Thank you, Alex, and congratulations on the promozione. Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, Sadie Adler goes from grieving widow to badass gunslinger to ruthless bounty. Yeah, there's definitely some character development in really every scenario. Anna says, I'm 25, studying criminology in school and hopefully become a criminal investigator, and I sometimes worry I'm working hard for this and I'm going to end up in a completely different career. Really? Oh. Why do you think you're gonna end up in a different career? His fingerprints, the ballistics information, and the CCTV remain on file, and the case is one that remains unsolved in the state of Nebraska, with no new information coming to light in the subsequent 23 years since Leah's murder, and thus, her murder firmly remains a mystery, one that's left purely to public speculation of unsolved mystery sleuths across the world. This is until one day, God willing, more evidence comes to light and the barefoot killer is finally brought to justice. I just don't like wearing socks unless it's cold. Now that's some character development right there. The Navi sound triggers your fight or flight instinct. That's hilarious. Wonder why.
Hey, listen.
Architect with the 21 Canadian buckaroonie says, good night. I'm going to leave the stream on but fall asleep and catch up on Patreon tomorrow. Thanks for the amazing narration. Keep calm and do not worry. Thank you, Architect. Sleep well. I will be sure to get this up ASAP on Patreon as soon as I get my butt out of bed. Or maybe I'll stay up tonight, I don't know. I guess we're already at midnight, huh? But thank you again. Thank you so much. Imagine being known as the barefoot killer. I was going to say, if someone's strolling around in bare feet, like, most likely they're probably from a beach town. That would make some sense. You're studying forensics, and I'm actually in love with it. I've started, but it's so crazy to think one mistake can screw up everything. That is true. I've also been really curious, too, like, to what extent forensics can be used within court to frame somebody. Does that sound plausible? Where, you know what I mean? Like, because I imagine, I don't know exactly how it plays out in court. But, like, basically all you need to do is, like, you just need to create a narrative. It's like when you're up there as a lawyer, you're, like, you're doing theater, you know what I mean? You're presenting a story. You're a storyteller. You're, you know what I mean? You're, you know, hopefully you're telling the truth, but it doesn't mean you're always telling the truth. You know what I mean? But like, I could totally see like forensics, since so much of it is so relatively like astonishing, you know what I mean? Completely astonishing to like people. They're like, whoa, you know, on the tire, they found pollen that's only present at this location, that which is where she was murdered, and his car, which ended up being 300 miles away. Why was that microscopic pollen located on his tire? You know, and that, you know, could potentially be something that is used against him or something like that. But then also, like, how do you prove, like, what's the possibility that, like, maybe whoever came up with that evidence is full of shit? You know what I mean? Like, or made that up, you know? Like, how's that, like, the plausible deniability type scenario? But yeah, I got that actually from Forensic Files. That's one of the things that, like, you know, screwed this guy over, was he had, you know, when he's driving his car to kill somebody, he had no idea that there was going to be fucking really hyper specific, like, evolutionarily designed pollen from that aspect of the state stuck to his tire for a long ass time, you know, as it traveled quite a distance away. You know what I mean? About to go CSI on your ass. But at the same time, I do have a lot of respect for forensic stuff. I just wonder, you know, every good science to a degree can be used to one's detriment. Do I watch Unus Annus? I heard it ended. I never watched any of it though. You know, I've never been like a Markiplier guy. I like Markiplier as a person. He seems like a nice fellow, and I'm happy for his success and stuff like that. But I never watched like any of his Let's Plays or any of his like comedy and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Though I know Lila is like a huge fan of Unus Annus. Wonder if he'll, like, because I know he was going to delete the channel, but I feel like it would make sense if like he sold them on like DVDs or some shit. He just does that on the corner, like, we're selling Unus Annus DVDs here, $10 a pop, baby, get the whole year's worth of shit. Comes down to Occam's razor. What is more probable? Yeah. But yeah, sometimes. But that's the thing, is like, you know, a prosecutor or someone who is working within a corrupt system with not many checks and balances knows exactly that Occam's razor is going to be used. And how does that guy, you know, contest you know, a forensic piece of evidence, you know? Herbert Small with the 5 says, just tuning in, playing Skyrim, double cola and bourbon, baby. Excited about Cyberpunk 2077. Sounds like Dexter, kind of. My wife loves forensics. Nice. Thank you, Herbert. You know, I am excited for Cyberpunk 77. It's 2077. It looks beautiful. It's a really cool setting. I'm just basically at this point, like, I haven't pulled the trigger on any sort of, you know, pre-order or anything of that nature, but I'm definitely just kind of like waiting to see how the gameplay looks and how the reviews look, and then I most likely will probably be purchasing it. You know, it looks pretty sick. And of course, Keanu Reeves is in it, which is just funny. Like, Keanu Reeves has had a pretty exciting, like, well, honestly, the tough thing is like, most all of us have seen John Wick, but how many here, show of hands, have seen the Bill and Ted movies? And if you did, were they any good? You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, I feel like the success of Keanu Reeves as a person is what manifested Bill and Ted to be reignited and get the funding that it needs to be created. But I feel like it came out at a really weird time where nobody was really going to theaters or even, you know, had their eyes on something like that. I play on PC, AJ. I'm PC Master Race. Where did Dana and Hannah go? I think she passed out, probably. It was well past her bedtime. Yeah, Keanu's personality is good. I like, if I met Keanu Reeves, I would dab him up, give him a kiss on the cheek, you know, have him hold me, and rock me to sleep in his arms. But I would be lying if I sat there and said that I thought Keanu Reeves was a good actor. In comparison, let me preface this. In comparison to like other like method actors, you know what I mean? Someone like Daniel Day-Lewis or something. Like it's night and day. You know what I mean? Like Keanu Reeves he has a very specific range. And I'm not saying that I do have the range, but I just don't really I don't really feel like his acting abilities have evolved too far since like Point Break or what was that movie, Point Break or whatever, or The Matrix. You know, it's just like as long as he can maintain his mysterious monotone reactions and say cool one-liners, everything should be fine. You know, like, and obviously I don't know, but he's a good guy. You know what I mean? He's the Jesus Christ of Reddit. So it's like, I'm not going to hold that against him. You know, I'm sure he's a great guy. Just, I think he has a very specific niche that he has to exist in. And if he exits out of that, that's where his weaknesses as an actor start to like manifest, you know? He's the quintessential dude. Yeah. The movie Speed. The Matrix was cool. I mean, Matrix 1 was sick. Matrix 2 was interesting. I kind of wanted to know more about the vampires and shit like that. I feel like that wasn't like expounded upon. They had a little bit of that in a little bit more of that in the Matrix video game, which anybody ever play that? That was sick. Into the Matrix. That was a cool one. What did I think about Cold War COD, Call of Duty? Not very impressed by it in general. When I bought Modern Warfare and Warzone, I noticed obviously there was a graphical upgrade, which it's always like, to me, I'm like, cool, whatever. The sound design was very, very intense. It was very raw and in your face, and every gun really had some power to it, and just the sound design was great. I saw that they added some sort of tactical options to almost all of the weapons as far as fire rate mode goes, and your ability to put your gun onto a surface to add for more, you know what I mean, lean your gun against things, peek around corners. And then, you know, the new Call of Duty is out now, Cold War, Black Ops Cold War. Like, it's sort of gotten rid of all of that, and it's the same gameplay overall, but it's a little bit more arcadey. But for me, there's been essentially a certain vibe, a certain sensation that I've felt playing Call of Duty since literally, I was in 11th grade when, and I'm 30 now, you know, if that says anything. I was 17 when Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare came out, right? And one of the newest ones is called Modern Warfare, which is pretty funny. But Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare came out on Xbox 360. I had GameFly, and I rented that shit, and I played it so much that I never sent it back to GameFly, and I just bought the game. It was that good, and I love the sensation of like upgrading your weapons as you go along, and just constantly being told you're the fucking most badass son of a bitch on earth, you know? But then, like, after they got to that point, like, nothing changed. Nothing changed at all, like, from Call of Duty from then until now. As far as, like, overall gameplay goes, it has stayed consistently, identically the same. You know what I mean? And it just, like, it gets boring, you know what I mean? It just like this, I still see some of the same death animations that I've seen in Call of Duty, like literally Call of Duty 2, which was like a World War II one that came out on Xbox 360 on launch, which was fucking 2006 or some shit, 2005. And you still see some of those same animations in this new Call of Duty. So I just kind of feel like it just consistently gets a new coat of paint and some new, you know, stuff, but overall, like, the gameplay just stays identical. And I get it, some people are just real fucking into it, But I'm, I remember, yeah, even when we got to Modern Warfare 2, which was after World at War and Black Ops and stuff, and then we were on to Modern Warfare 2, I bought that, and I was like, this game is the fucking same still, and I'm just like, and I essentially stopped playing them since then, but now I kind of wanted to get back into it, and I got it, and I'm like pretty much less than impressed by the new Cold War. I know it's got zombies, but that sometimes the zombie mode is a little bit stressful to me, and I'm just like, we're only going to make it so far anyways, so it's whatever. But I don't know, it is what it is. I don't expect a giant company like that with that much success to really ever change. Herbert Small with the 5 says he is more of a character actor. I think they did use his stardom to jumpstart the Bill and Ted movies. He has such a gravitas about him. He does. He really does. I mean, and the fact that they always seem to just catch him right whenever he's giving up his seat on the subway to a stray cat, that's always helps a little bit for his and then it's so funny, they'll go from that where he's just a stand-up gentleman to showing clips of him going through shooting courses at a shooting range while being surrounded by a bunch of scantily clad women, they're all wearing jet black clothes, titties hanging out, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, it's just funny, the stuff that we that Reddit specifically chooses to praise. They're just so inconsistent with their dumb messages and shit. It's frustrating sometimes, but it's whatever. I don't care. But yeah, I recently, as far as military shooters go, I recently played this one. It's called Insurgency Sandstorm, that I really liked as far as its gameplay goes. You know what I mean? It's pretty much one shot can bring you down, but as much fun as that is, it's also it also makes the game kind of terrible too, because I don't even know, as fast as you get in, you'll be that quickly dead. And I don't know, maybe I'm just moved past games to an extent, but I try to look forward. I really need to try to experience some single player stuff a lot more, because I think I'm just all fed up with multiplayer stuff. I don't really think it's going to change, you know what I mean? Okay. Get on it. "26-year-old Deborah Deanne Poe grew up in Northern Virginia near Washington, D.C., eventually moving to Orlando, Florida in late October of 1989. Whilst in Orlando, Deborah rented a duplex with a female roommate, fostering dreams of purchasing her own home with the profits she hoped to make from her fledgling catering company." Fledgling? I played Saints Row 4. I remember Saints Row 1 was really impressive because it was basically playing a Grand Theft Auto game, but reimagined from somebody else, but also next gen. That was really sick. I remember I loved crashing into people while they were near the bus stops, because it just it was, I don't know, it was just I always really enjoy physics, as weird as that sounds, and whenever you could just crash into a person and then smash their body into a fucking while you smash through a bus stop, something about that was just wildly satisfying and sadistic. But I really want to get a VR headset and stuff so I can play Half-Life Alyx, because that game looks sweet as fuck, and I really like the Half-Life series. Any mobile games you recommend? I don't know, to be honest, with mobile games. They're kind of hit or miss, I guess. I can smash you into a bus stop. Fostering dreams of purchasing her own home with the profits she hoped to make from her fledgling catering company. In order to realize said dreams, Deborah worked 2 jobs in the Orlando area, one being in the sales department of the Orlando Sentinel newspaper, and the other working 5 nights a week as a clerk at the Circle K convenience store on the intersection of Hall Road and Aloma Avenue, where she was entirely alone whilst on the job. Scott Iaggi, another clerk at the Circle K, who also happened to be Deborah's boyfriend, handed over his shift to her at around 11 p.m. on February the 3rd. You want me to scare you, Claire? Look behind you. Scott Iaggi, another clerk at the Circle K who also happened to be Deborah's boyfriend, handed over his shift to her at around 11 p.m. on February the 3rd, 1990. 2 hours later, Scott returned to the Circle K to see how Deborah was holding up. She was relatively new to the company and was blessed that her boyfriend was willing to put time aside to assist her in her nightly duties. Once Scott was sure that she would be okay, he drove home to get some rest, expecting a call from Deborah once she had finished her shift at around 7 a.m. Yet he never received one. Shortly after 3 a.m. on the morning of February 4th, a friend of Deborah's happened to be driving by the Circle K store. She attests that she saw Deborah behind the counter, clearly recognizing her distinct hairstyle from some distance away. However, around a half hour later, a customer parked up in her vehicle in the Circle K's parking lot and walked inside the store to buy a pack of cigarettes. This particular customer was a regular visitor at the time of the night, given that she too worked the late shift at her job, so even though Deborah had only worked there a short time, she had become accustomed to seeing the sleepy-eyed young clerk behind the counter. But to her surprise, when she walked in that night, it wasn't Deborah on duty. In fact, the man who stood behind the counter didn't appear to be an employee of Circle K at all, given that instead of the usual uniform, he was wearing a black Megadeth t-shirt emblazoned with a fire-breathing dragon. The customer inquired if he was a new employee, to which the strange man replied in the affirmative. She then asked where Deborah was and was confused when the strange man didn't seem to know who she was. After all, the Circle K team were a close-knit bunch that included a romantic couple. A romantic couple? The only Grand Theft Auto game I hadn't completed was Vice City and Vice City Stories, with GTA San Andreas and 3 being my favorite because they were difficult. Yeah, I mean, GTA 4 was sick. I remember when I first played that, I was pretty taken aback by that, like just graphically and just how everything played out. I wasn't a huge fan of the story of GTA 4. Not a big fan of Nico as a character. Some of the side, like the DLCs that came out were cool. I remember playing that after. And then, yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5 was awesome. I remember just being really, really impressed with a lot of the stuff, especially like right after it came, before it was like Max Payne 3, which was sick, but then like I would say Grand Theft Auto 5 fucking definitely was comparable to that graphically. And yeah, there was a lot of fun experiences there. I never actually finished GTA 5's story, which kind of stinks. And then, yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 was amazing. Not a huge fan of the Red Dead Redemption 2 story. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, I felt like it was, even though it was a relatively long game, I feel like most of the storylines overall were relatively rushed, and a lot of the character development seemed to kind of odd to me, as far as some of the decisions they were making, and we need money, Arthur, all that shit. But I, for as much work as they put into that one, and then the fact that I'm pretty sure some of the lead people at Rockstar have left, or Take-Two or Rockstar or something, they have left the team. I'm not sure if we're gonna see like a GTA 6 or like a Red Dead 3. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. After all, the Circle K team were a close-knit bunch that included a romantic couple. But if this young man was indeed a new employee, it was perfectly understandable that he might not be entirely familiar with his colleagues yet, so his answer didn't arouse too much suspicion. The customer shrugged it off, then asked the clerk for a pack of their favorite cigarette brand. Yet not only did the strange man not seem to be familiar with where the cigarettes were located or which brand was which, he seemed to have a great deal of trouble operating the register, too. Yet, as with her previous inquiry, the customer simply put it down to the teething pains of a new hire, and calmly waited for her change as the strange man pushed one button after another before the cash register finally popped open. As she left the store, she heard the strange man lean over the counter and say, "You really shouldn't smoke, you know," in a tone that left her feeling distinctly creeped out. Then, just another half-hour later, another customer walked into the Circle K only to find it completely deserted. They called out for service, but no one came to their assistance. Something didn't sit right with them at all, and so they made the decision to call the local sheriff's department to warn them that something bad may have happened. Police arrived a short while later to discover that Deborah's red... Jesus, this cat. Hold on a second. He's nuts, dude. It sounded like he knocked something over to get in. And, I don't fucking know. And then every time I go out there, he just runs away. So he just plays Ding Dong Ditch all fucking night. It's really annoying, but he is what he is. Yeah, Red Dead looked amazing. Like the draw distance is like the ability to see really far in the game without like any fog or anything like that was like some of the most amazing I'd ever seen. It like looked picturesque and a lot of stuff. Joel's girlfriend just walked in. Hey, babe. Joel, what do you think about Joker? I thought it was interesting because people talked about how it opened a window for mental health issues. I don't know about that. I mean, I thought the Joker was a really good film. I felt like that was a good example of character development in that movie. He was just... It's been a while since I've seen it now, trying to remember all the particulars, but I really liked how it all kind of culminated, like, in a very serious movie to like literally the character of the Joker, having a massive influence over large amounts of other relatively frustrated individuals, I guess, or something of that nature that were rioting in the streets and blah, blah, blah. But as far as like mental health goes and its representations there, I don't really know, because if that's the case, if his character and mental health, if the Joker is that, then it's like, then you could sit there and say that, Batman's been representing like, mental health people ever since, the 1920s or whenever the fuck that shit came out. But like, I didn't really think like quote unquote mental health per se was one of the biggest focal points of the movie, like, or really like in your face about it necessarily. But yeah, and everyone kept saying about like incels and this and that. I don't really feel like, I mean, obviously the guy himself, he was someone who lived with his mother forever, did have mental health issues, was kind of ignored by his system once the funding was kind of shut down, and maybe that was it. Maybe it was trying to like make a statement on government funding and those who kind of get ignored, and but I didn't feel like it was like too in your face about it or anything like that. Joaquin Phoenix. Oh yeah, I need to see her. I've never seen her before, but something didn't sit right with them at all. so they made the decision to call the local sheriff's department to warn them that something bad may have happened. Police arrived a short while later to discover that Deborah's red Toyota was still in the parking lot, all locked up. Yet strangely, they found that not only were her Porsche. I watched The Boys, and I haven't seen The Boys. I heard it was interesting. Yet strangely, they found not only were her purse and paycheck still in the car, but also that her actual car keys were locked inside too. On inspecting the interior of the Circle K store, the cops then found what they assumed was Deborah's Circle K uniform, folded and neatly placed behind the counter. The register was secured. There was no obvious sign of theft of either cash or product. Neither was remotely out of the place. It was as if that night, Deborah had simply vanished into thin air. A canine unit was called in, and the dog handler gave his canine a whiff of Deborah's uniform, instructing it to follow the scent. The search dog then rushed around to the rear of the store building, alerting on 2 distinct spots on a section of pavement. The first was a patch of concrete behind a derelict business just next to the Circle K. The other seemed to be through a gap in a large wooden fence that led into the parking lot of a neighboring apartment complex. After that, the search dog seemed to lose her trail. The sudden loss of the scent trail led investigating sheriff's deputies to conclude that Deborah had either willingly entered a vehicle which promptly drove off, or had done so under duress. But since Deborah hadn't returned to either her job, her boyfriend, or her rented apartment, the only real question was who might want to abduct the hard-working and personable young woman. What quickly became obvious to investigators was that the solitary nature of Deborah's work made her a very easy and obvious target for kidnapping. She was an attractive young woman, working alone in a gas station in the middle of the night, at a time when there was no CCTV cameras present to record the interior or exterior of the business. According to her boyfriend, there was also no shortage of bothersome customers to include on the list of suspects, some of whom harmlessly flirted with Deborah. Others, she complained, had made some legitimately predatory remarks to her when they came in drunk in the wee small hours. Her boyfriend told the police of one particular incident that Deborah complained of, which occurred just a fortnight prior to her apparent abduction. According to her, a semi-naked man ran into the Circle K and hopped over the counter, where he then attempted to indecently assault her. Deborah was then pursued around the store for a few minutes, then chased outside to the gas pumps, where she was able to evade the man and make it back to the store before him, where she promptly locked the doors to keep him out. It was only when Deborah had secured a full-time sales position as the Orlando Sentinel. But yeah, it was really weird because like sometimes I kind of like wonder, okay, you know, like whenever movies come out and there's like a pervasive like narrative or some shit like surrounding it, where like when the Joker came out with Joaquin Phoenix, you know, there was this weird like thing that you saw popping up where it was like, these people on, you know, here think that this is for incels and, you know, people from 4chan or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? It was like, and all the people saying that were like, no, I haven't seen the movie yet, but, and then you went and saw the movie, and it was like entirely, you know, not the case. It was like really heavily based around character development and really had nothing to do with any sort of, like his character didn't really have like any sort of like leanings towards one concept or another other than just like complete anarchy, I suppose, by the end or whatever. And to me, I start to wonder to a degree where the sort of like galvanized nature, the divided nature of politics and its sort of current stasis for the past like 4 years is almost used to a degree to like market to people's like presuppositions, you know what I mean? Where they sit there and say a particular side, you know, within, you know, maybe a more heavily demonized subculture is, praising a movie, or they're saying another side is like not praising a movie or even considering it relatively toxic. Like, I almost feel like that's used to create, or could easily be used within marketing to create a perceived perception, or almost like a form of viral marketing, that you don't even realize that you're kind of like being manipulated into going to see something just to see what all the hubbub is about. You know what I mean? Very similar to, what's that? Remember Hostel? Remember they made a big fucking deal about Hostel, and it's like the most violent movie you'll ever see. People had to step out of the theaters. It was so gruesome, And then there was like one scene where a guy's like eyeball dripped out or some shit, and it was like, okay, whatever, dude. I feel like there was worse shit back in like Friday the 13th era, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But I don't know. I just feel like people are so... If I was a marketer or like something like that, you could so easily prey on people's emotions. It's kind of frustrating, actually, just observing it. Your favorite movie is Natural Born Killers. I don't think I've seen it. It's a very sad movie. It's a sad thing, and yeah, it's just a lot of that's a lot of the politics in the current day are just used for exposure, or people jump on it like almost grifting to a degree. Just to reach a certain sense of relevancy, in all sorts of forms. In a similar fashion, not necessarily political, but like, remember when that Sonic movie came? They were advertising the Sonic movie, and the Sonic guy, the Sonic like 3D character looked like ridiculously stupid, like to the point where you're like, why would they do this? And then but it brought a lot of, even though it was bad publicity, it brought, remember they say like all bad publicity is good publicity, or any bad advertising is still advertising in general. And, and then eventually they changed the Sonic. I still didn't see the Sonic movie. It looked like dog shit, but, and, like I think we've said this before, where I feel like movie producers who make video game movies nowadays don't actually ever play the game, do any research, or hire anybody that's ever like, or the people they do hire to like write the script like have to talk to the producer in the back, and they're like, okay, I don't know fucking anything about Sonic, what do you think? And they're like, my son he plays that Sonic game in his room sometimes, right? And it's like a little blue fucking muskrat or some shit, and there's rings, and there's a guy, Dr. Eggman or some shit. I don't fucking... Just, who gives a shit? They'll just trick them. Just trick them. Like, it's literally the same... Like, I don't know if it's like there's certain amounts of, like, limitations they have to the copyright of the nature of certain lore within movies, but, I mean, going back even all the way to, like, the Super Mario Brothers movie, the real-life one back in the 90s, which a lot of people said was actually just a place that the mafia used to like embezzle money through, like making movies or whatever. Because whenever you go to you film a movie, you can write off a trillion different expenses for like lunch and all this stuff, and you can just like make stuff up, but really you might be funneling money through the whole project because it's all just bullshit. You eventually release something, but I don't imagine that you ended up like... And the ones that flop, maybe that's the whole plan. That would be an elaborate scheme, wouldn't it? Make a goodies too. It was only when Deborah had secured a full-time sales position at the Orlando Sentinel that her family and boyfriend pleased with her. Ever watched the original Mario Bros. From the movie? Yeah, I love that movie, actually. Like, well, I don't love it, but like it was like, when you're a kid, you just watch whatever the fuck. Like, that's the only reason why kids nowadays will watch like other children open up toys on YouTube, and somehow that's like quality content to kids. Or like, they'll watch Elsa, some idiot in their backyard jumping on their trampoline as like Spider-Man and Elsa, and you're like, what the fuck? Who the fuck made this shit? But when you're a kid, you just fucking watch anything that's like put into your VCR or in front of you, you know what I mean? So, back then, you know, technically the Mario movie, the real life one, was really bad. But as I was a kid, I was like so enthralled by every facet of it, I didn't even care that it had literally nothing to do with the original concepts. I just remember like that was my first experience with John Leguizamo. What's your names? Mario. What's your name? Luigi. Last name? Mario. What's your last name? Luigi Mario. So you guys both name Mario and Luigi Mario. It was just like the most pointless scene ever, but you just don't forget that shit. It was only when Deborah had secured a full-time sales position at the Orlando Sentinel that her family and boyfriend pleaded with her to quit working at the Circle K, citing the dangers of working alone in the middle of the night. However, Deborah refused, arguing that she needed the extra hours in order to raise funds to put towards starting up that dream catering business of hers. As a kind of compromise, Scott began to accompany her to work, remaining in his car while she worked and drinking coffee to stay awake so that he could keep an eye on her. But this only irritated Deborah, who complained that she didn't need to be chaperoned, especially when her boyfriend should be at home getting the sleep he needed to complete his own full-time hours. After collecting statements from various eyewitnesses, police decided that their investigation should focus around the creepy-sounding Megadeth fan who was standing behind the counter when the smoker arrived to buy cigarettes. The Orlando Sentinel ran a missing persons ad at the declat. Poop. They ran the poop. How would Ted Bundy, Edmund Kemper, Ted Kaczynski, and other intelligent serial killers respond if they were called a nerd? It's a weird question, forgive me. I don't know, I mean, I'm seeing as like most of them had like an MO on who they murdered. I'm sure they were called all sorts of things and then just would eventually wait to take out their anger on their preferred victims. So that's why it's nice to just be nice to everyone so that you don't like inadvertently get some girl killed later down the road. Oh, the original TMNT, those were good. Those were fucking good. I remember, like, as a kid, I didn't fucking know. Like, that's how dumb I was. Like, because I think the first Teenage Mutant Turtles 1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, I had owned and seen over and over again. And then, you know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where they go back in time to, like, Japan. I remember being like with one of my like dad and my uncle, and he told me that he had the movie or something like that, and I was just like shitting my pants, so ready for him to like take us back so I could like watch it. And then I ended up finding out that it like wasn't available to like rent, or somehow I like totally missed it in the theaters, and then also didn't know the time in which it was coming out for VHS or DVD or whatever the fuck, because I was just a dumb kid and I only knew exactly what was placed directly in front of me at that moment. But that's one of the ones of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies that I hadn't seen, was the third one, or at least I've seen it, but I didn't see it more than once, I don't think. Used to think Leonardo DiCaprio was Corey Feldman. Hey, they do look like your conventional white boys. The Orlando Sentinel ran a The Orlando Sentinel ran a missing persons ad in the classified section every day for 11 years after her abduction, ending in December 2001. But information yielded from the ads proved useless. Yet after more than 30 years, the hundreds of tips from the general public, this man has yet to be identified. There were also some doubts that he was even involved in her disappearance at all, given that he could have walked into the store, possibly drunk, saw that there was no one behind the counter, and decided to play at being a clerk for an hour or so. But it would have to be something of an extraordinary coincidence that he had been present in the store just a matter of minutes after she was supposedly abducted. Either way, police were never able to identify or question the man, and so his identity and level of involvement remain a complete mystery. In the immediate aftermath of Deborah's disappearance, police were not in a position to go public with all of the information they had to hand. They had to hand? Had to handle. Fuck. There's still a lot to this story, but... You gonna be an MIA again for a bit? Oh, no worries. Joel swearing, saying fuck. Would do more collabs with Lazy Love You Too? Maybe, yeah. I'm definitely down. I just had to hit him up. Wait, Corey Feldman's dead? What? No. Corey Feldman's not dead. He's 49 years old. Yeah, he's not dead. At first I was like, wow, because he released like some creepy movie about like abuse in Hollywood and stuff, and called My Truth or whatever. But then it was like a really strange thing where you could only see it in private viewing, and I don't know, it was really weird. So whenever you told me he was dead, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. How do I make swear words sound so intelligent? You just gotta try it over and over again. Oh, Corey Haim. Okay. Or Haim. Sorry, you confused me. In the immediate aftermath of Deborah's disappearance, police were not in position to go public with all the information they had to handle, since they were worried that it might frighten their suspect into fleeing the area altogether. But after 3 months of no luck in their investigation, Orange County Sheriff's Department held a press conference in which they revealed a composite sketch of the so-called Megadeth Man. He was believed to be aged between 19 and 25, with long, worry, dark hair and... Long, worry, dark hair? Is that a fucking description of hair, man? Worry? Resembling wire. Oh, okay.
Wiry.
Or is it wiry? Oh, I'm an idiot. Does my face look how my voice sounds? It looks exactly like it. Just like how everyone else in your life you've ever heard looks exactly how you'd imagine them to look. He was believed to be aged between 19 and 25, with long, wiry, dark hair and brown eyes. Aside from the Megadeth t-shirt he was wearing on the night in question, a witness had described him as wearing a skull ring on his left hand, along with a crucifix piercing dangling from his right ear. But perhaps most importantly, a black van has been parked outside at the time of his appearance, one with a large, colorful Megadeth mural airbrushed onto the side. It was believed that this detail would make him easy to identify, since such a vehicle was likely to be very memorable and somewhat unique. Then in August of 1990, a man riding an ATV made a grisly discovery near to Aloma Avenue, a road that was only 2 miles away from where Deborah was last seen alive. It was a decomposing human corpse, mostly skeletal, and due to the geographical and physical similarities, it was believed to be Deborah's. However, much to the relief of her family and friends, the jewelry on the corpse was found to bear no similarities to that which they knew that Deborah owned, and after a comparison that was made between the corpse's bite pattern and Deborah's dental records, the possibility of it being the missing clerk was ruled out. It gave her family hope that she might still be alive. Over a year after the corpse's discovery, in November of 1991, Deborah's case was featured on the popular TV show Unsolved Mysteries. Over 150 viewers from all over the country called in with fresh information, most of which involved the identity or location of the Megadeth man seen behind the counter that night. Orange County Police also received a call from law enforcement officials up in Virginia, who told them they were investigating a remarkably similar case and actually had a suspect in their custody who matched the physical description of the Megadeth man. However, despite the physical similarities, detectives were unable to charge the man up in Virginia and were forced to investigate other suspects during the following few years, one of which was an ex-boyfriend of Deborah's who she had broken up with citing mental instability. Another came to the attention of detectives as of late 1998, following reports that he would talk constantly about Deborah's disappearance with an apparently unhealthy interest. But once he was confronted by police, the man simply lawyered up and refused to talk about it anymore, subsequently dodging a charge for her abduction. Almost 12 years later, in March of 2002, a large team of Orange County sheriffs, deputies, and volunteers, search and rescue personnel assembled in an empty lot behind the Chapel Hill Baptist Church of Trevarthen Road. Palinita, thank you for the 125 PHP. Says, hey Joel, miss listening to your streams. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well as well. Hope it's not too warm over on that side of the world. Almost 12 years later in my... actually... let's see if this website has the pronunciation. Oh, wait. Nope, does not exist. Fuck. Trevarthen. Trevarthen? It's rainy in the Philippines. Almost 12 years later, in March of 2002, a large team of Orange County Almost 12 years later, in March of 2002, a large team of Orange County sheriff's deputies and volunteer search and rescue personnel assembled in an empty lot behind the Chapel Hill Baptist Church on Trevarthen Road in Orlando. They spent around 14 hours intensively searching the 1-acre lot, which was only around 3.5 miles from the Circle K gas station, having identified it as a possible location for Deborah's remains. Their reasoning was that it was in close proximity to the home of a new suspect in the case, but refused to say just who that was in reference to. That day, 5 of the 6 search canines present... I wonder if anybody on... What would you guys do if someone on YouTube, like a prominent figure, faked their death? That would be weird, wouldn't it? Do you think they could get away with it? If they just wanted to give all of like their YouTube stuff up, they just thought like, well, I think the best way to do it is to pretend I'm dead. It'd be a bit weird. That day, 5 of the 6 search canines present alerted to there having been... What is this sentence? That day, 5 of the 6 search canines present alerted to there having been human remains in an overgrown... Yeah, they'd be canceled after they're dead. There'd be an uproar. But, like... I'm gonna plan my fake death. Maybe. Just kidding. But, like, I don't know. I was just thinking, like, could they get away with it? Like, would you guys even care? You know what I mean? Would you, like, you saw, like, I don't know. You just saw, like, something like, I regret to inform you that as so-and-so's close family members, so-and-so has passed away, you know. And then, like, I just wondered to what extent people would, like, look into it. No, I'm not going to fake my death. I was just, like... thinking of like an interesting thing that like I could, I don't know, just popped in my head, like somebody could, like if this girl, if this person, this story, like faked their death to get away, and what if someone on like some goofball on YouTube like did it, you know? No, don't do a fake death, do a face reveal. Metro Man from Megamind, yes, exactly that one. That day, 5 of the 6 search canines present alerted to there having been human remains in an overgrown section of the field. Yet the 12 hours of excavation that followed yielded nothing of significance, although that didn't rule out that Deborah's body had been buried there following her murder, and then moved at some point during the early stages of the investigation into her disappearance. However, terrifyingly enough, local newspapers discovered that this location was close to the apartment of none other than Deborah's boyfriend at the time of her disappearance, Scott Iyagi, the very same man who had been so insistent that they blame... The very same man who had been so insistent that they lay blame with one... The very same man who had been so insistent that the blame lay with one of the men harassing her. Ever so slightly hipster Viking, lol. Ever so slightly hipster Viking, the perfect mix. Mr. Hana with the two, I don't know who you are, but I rated your stream. Oh, thanks, dude. Can you raid streams? Is that possible? Or do you just tell people to go over there? Because I know on Twitch you can host people, which see, that's one of the things too. It's like, why does YouTube not let you host stuff? Like, I feel like they don't take their streaming platform very seriously when I feel like it could yield them quite a bit of income. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like they don't, I don't know, they don't work on it as much as they should. That day, fuck, what the hell am I doing? However, the local officials, oh yeah. The very same man who had been so insistent that the blame lay with one of the men harassing her was now prime suspect in what was, by that point, assumed to be her murder. Yet he too was never officially charged with any crime. It has been more than 30 years since Deborah Deanne Poe disappeared from her job at the Circle K gas station in Orlando, Florida. 30 leads of dead ends, bad leads, and failed charges. There have been no human remains discovered that had ever been successfully identified as belonging to her. No one has ever come forward claiming to be her, and no one has ever confessed to her murder. For intents and purposes, Deborah simply vanished from the thin air that night. For intents and purposes, Deborah simply vanished into thin air that night, never to be seen again. Even as the world ventured into the era of camera phones, internet media, and communities of people obsessed with unsolved mysteries, there have been no significant... Even as the world ventured into the era of camera phones, internet media, and communities of people obsessed with unsolved mysteries, there have been no significant developments in her case. 30 years later, the question remains, just what exactly did happen to Deborah Deanne Poe? For all inside of tents and porpoises. Why do I and Jensen sound so similar? I don't think we do. All intents and porpoises. Okay, we got... What do you think you would have done instead of YouTube? Well, I was a nurse for a while, so I would have just kept doing that. But not a huge fan of that. Don't really like wiping butts for a living, though I understand it's pays well and it's, you know, a good job. It's just hard. It's just hard being a nurse. I definitely suggest it as a career if someone wants to, like, you know, be financially independent and stuff. Joel and Chills sound identical. No, we don't. Wipe your butt. Oh, God. Your dad's a nurse and loves it. That's good. It just depends on where you work, I assume. It's different on every floor. I mean, there's so many different facets of nursing you can be doing. And, you know, depending on where you're at, your community can be really positive, and, you know, your community can be really negative. And the one that I was in was primarily toxic, you know, because I just didn't fit in, you know. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's just like, I'm just kind of like a dude, you know? Just very dudely. And like, in that environment, being like too much of a dude is kind of frowned upon, or at least where I worked. I should have just left that, but it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter anymore. I broke free, bruh. I broke free. Lila, you don't feel good. You just need some soup. Need some soup. Just a dude. Joel's a weirdo. I am a weirdo. And people don't, like, I don't know. There's a lot of people in, like, that culture that just aren't very receptive to weirdos, you know what I mean? Not like a weirdo in the creepy sense, but just like, I laugh at weird stuff. I make weird jokes. I mean, I don't take any of their bullshit. I don't find it interesting. Like, and they're kind of negative all the fucking time, like, about everything. So I'm thankful I got out of that environment, because I'm like a beautiful butterfly who was stuck in a big pile of dung shit, and now I'm not. So fuck you. Did you sit and admire your life? Do you sit and admire your life like I do and drink coffee sometimes? Yeah, I guess. Sometimes I get bored, you know. I feel like I need constant stimulation. The God of Pez with the 5 says, this is for a bag of your favorite chips. Stay healthy. Thank you. Chips. Chips and... what do they call it? Fish and chips. Thank you, Pez. It's good to see you back. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing is, like, in this scenario, like, you guys are actually interested in me. You're interesting. Aren't you also negative? Thanks, Liz. Very positive statement from you. I mean, not really. Not towards like other people. You know what I mean? Like, usually, if I'm around other people, I, like, in a conventional sense, I'm usually one that's capable of, like, lifting others up through comedy, through stuff like that, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm never gonna say, like, something negative to someone's face to make them feel bad. And even if someone is, like, mean to me IRL, or just, like, rude or dumb bitch, like, I usually, like, the second that they give me some sense of, like, any positive foothold I can grab to, like, where they seem happy, I'm immediately, like, their best friend again. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of childlike, I suppose, but I don't know. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and if they give me the positive energy that I desire, like, I'm going to reciprocate it. You know what I mean? Lene Monet with the 2 says Joel's just different. I know. Aren't we all just a little bit different? You know, not negative as in a downer or mean. Oh, I don't know then what that means, because that's what I mean. That's just literally, like, the environment I worked in as a nurse was. A lot of them were just negative downers. They were just downers, dude. Just fucking downers all the time, and, like, mean, and, like, and they definitely didn't like fucking men. You know what I mean? Like, that's as much as I want to, like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, it just, that's how it was. It was, like, fucking all, like, gender played a big fucking role in, like, what you were perceived as. Like, for me, I was just essentially, like, a warm body that can, like, lift more things than them. So I was in charge of, like, turning people or helping with stupid shit like that, or making people laugh, you know. And then beyond that, it's like there is no place for me. And, like, I don't think I could ever say that I, like, besides a few select individuals, like, made any friends there, you know what I mean? Because they didn't really want to be your friend, you know what I mean? They just looked at you, like, almost like in an ostracized type fashion, like you're you're just external for me, and I like my little circle of bitches. But whatever. I don't give a fuck. Fuck that shit. Mean girls in school become nurses. I mean, they kind of do. Like, I don't know what the fuck it is. Like, I used to think, like, as you got to your adult life, that you start to exit those, like, realms of just gossipy bullshit. You know what I mean? Because it seems like it's such a waste of energy, or, like, it takes a lot out of you sometimes to maintain that, or it takes more energy to maintain a sense of, like, it takes more energy to, like, maintain a sense of, like, hatred towards somebody, or, like, remembering what they've done to you forever, you know, and holding that against them, holding a grudge, than to just not give a shit and move on with your life. But I swear to God, the culture that exists sometimes within nursing is just the complete opposite of what is considered like a mature adult. But it all depends on the environment, I suppose, because it's different everywhere you go. Yeah, high school never really does end for some people. And I think a lot of them, they were just so miserable, like such miserable people, that like the only way that they could express themselves and you know, express their sense of misery is to take it out on other people who showed them positive, you know, like positive vibes most of the time. And I don't know. Who fucking gives a shit? Fuck them. They don't matter. Sierra Cuarta with the 5 says, good nurses love nurses. I know. There was some that like just appreciated good humor and good fucking things, but there was a lot of them that just like they would rather just pass a strong scoff in your direction. You don't like talking about... I don't... Whatever, dude. That's the work environment you experience in dental work. Yeah, I don't know what it is about like medical professionals like being really unprofessional, essentially. You would expect there would be like a degree of that, but maybe it's just the way that people deal with like sort of health and the health system. Like they... But really, I'm sure it's just the way it goes everywhere you go, you know? There's shitty people and stuff. Misery does love company. This is true. Do I live on the east or west coast? I'm east coast. All right, last story here, my friends. Sorry about me bitching. See you, Nick. What about pants, people? They never wore pants. That was the thing. You studied to be an EMT but couldn't get into it. Yeah, I mean, I respect EMTs. It's first responder types. That's a tough thing. And honestly, once you experience that, I can imagine if you're good enough, you know what I mean, in school, EMT, like once you have EMT experience, you literally, like for a while, a year, 2 years or whatever, you could go to medical school, you could go to nursing, you could do any of it, and you know, you would operate well within the environment already. You just would know how to, you just had to figure out how to like succeed academically. Smoke green every day. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Honestly, like being a doctor though, it seems like a fucking headache to be real with you. Like, I mean, nursing was tough, you know, for sure. But like the doctor thing was weird because they honestly, a lot of them like operated almost as like lone wolves, you know what I mean, where they just had to know everything. They had to know how to do everything. They just like but like they didn't have anyone to lean on, you know. With nurses, there's a degree of like community amidst them because there's so many of them. But with doctors, it's almost like they just have to be like these like creatures that don't need sleep, you know everything immediately on the go, you know, be held to you know, essentially be held responsible for every decision they make, you know, and you know, they work endless hours, never get to fucking clock out, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like such a stressor to get into. In school, you know, people go fucking insane going to school to be one, you know? An eye doctor would be cool, though. Yeah, I mean, an eye doctor is a little bit different, you know? It's a little more chill. And if you can get into that, that would be sick. Actually, funny you say that, because a friend of mine, he was a nurse, really good nurse. Well, not a good nurse because he was lazy, but he was good in the fact that he knew fucking everything, and he was really intelligent, and he trained me. And then he, you know, he didn't want to be you know, when you get into nursing, you eventually realize you don't want to be on the floor for the rest of your life very quickly. And he went back to school to be an eye doctor, and I haven't really followed up with him since then, but I imagine that's what he's doing now. Ever thrown hatchets in an indoor throwing facility? If not, it's really fun. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to try that out. I've seen people do that. It looks cool. He had me at warm body. Who needs eyes, though? I know. They're so overrated. Just rip them out, dude. Or just close them forever. On the night of March 15th, 1989, Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick was working at Aileen Ladies Sportswear in Aileen Ladies Sportswear in Frederick, Maryland. Okay. Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick. On the night of March 15th, 1989, Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick was working at Aileen Ladies Sportswear in Frederick, Maryland. Tracy was an introverted young woman, often opting to communicate her thoughts and feelings through handwritten poetry than actual verbal. Man, I can't fucking keep my words straight, bruh. Tracy was an introverted young woman, often opting to communicate her thoughts and feelings through handwritten poetry than actual verbal Box. Did you ever just yell a word that makes no sense to swear? Box. Did you grow up with people complimenting your voice? No, actually. Like, literally nobody ever told me once growing up that I had, like, a nice voice. The only person that mildly mentioned it was, like, my 8th grade art teacher. Whenever I, like, jokingly sang one time, whenever we were sitting at one of those, like, you know, thespian type, like, recital things. Like, she took us there during one of the last period classes, just to, like, near the end of school, and she's like, "You're really good, you should, like, think about, like, maybe trying out." But I thought she was just saying that because she was, like, really nice, you know what I mean? And I never once ever heard compliments on my singing voice, which I still don't really in my mind think that my singing voice is any good, because, you know, I just don't fucking know how to do it. But, like, yeah, never before had I ever heard, even, like as far as reading goes, that it was any good or anything like that, or like indicating something of narration value, you know. Art teachers, I remember that's like what I wanted to be growing. I always wanted to be an art teacher or some sort of teacher before I went to nursing school. I think I was going to be like a history teacher, but I just, like, I think I got accepted to school for it. And then last second I was like, I do not want to be a teacher. This just seems like such a fucking headache. Like, dealing with, like, you know what I mean? Because by middle school, like, people know how to say shit to you that, like, really gets under your skin. You know, in, like, 5th grade, or, like, maybe, like, in grade school, like, kids will just say, like, "You're stupid poop." And you're like, I know, I'm a stupid poop. But then, like, by middle school, some of the kids can, like, literally beat you up and then also make you feel terrible about you peeing your pants while it happened or something. I don't know. History teachers are always hot. Guaranteed. That's why I actually was recruited. They walked up and were like, "You're pretty hot. You want to be a history teacher?" Oh yeah, CNAs. Our CNAs at our place got paid pretty well, but they still had to deal with a lot of shit, like, literally. How do I get to know other YouTubers like Bebus and Lazy Masquerade? Oh, you just DM them, but I mean, like, the fact that they knew who I was, that makes DMing them a little bit easier for their responses, because they're like, oh, this person has an established YouTube channel, like, what's he want? Yeah, CNA, I always respected my CNAs when I worked with them. Like, you know, I never was rude to them or acted as if, like, I always treated them like equals, like I was one, you know what I mean? Like, I never demanded them to go do something or was rude to them. Most of the nurses were pretty good on my floor too. Like, we all were pretty kind to the CNAs and stuff, or treated them well. But some of them acted as if though they were somehow above them. But you didn't want your CNAs to not be on your side, because if they weren't on your side, they were most likely not going to do something for you while you were busy, or you know what I mean? So it's always beneficial to, like, befriend people rather than, like, treat life like some sort of hierarchy, you know, because it's not really. Hierarchy is just, like, made up in people's minds. Tracy was an introverted young woman, often opting to communicate her thoughts and feelings through handwritten poetry than actual verbal conversation. She was also something of a bookworm and excelled in her academic life. She was also extremely hard-working, holding positions at 2 retail jobs in order to save money to pursue a law degree at an Ivy League university. One of these jobs was... oh, there was no period there. Fucking hell. All these, like, it's so stupid. Like, I feel like I'm on a roll and it's just like one little grammatical error in the story just fudge me up. How do you choose financial stability over your passion? I would suggest getting that established first, the financial stability, before pursuing the passions, because money is so fucking stressful, as I'm sure so many of you know. Like, money can be so stressful and destroy relationships and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, we're kind of fed all the time that you should just always pursue your passions, which I agree is intelligent, or it's good to do in the grand scheme of experiencing life. But you also have to consider that you need to put food on the table, most likely not just for yourself, but eventually other people as well. And, you know, I was thankful that I had the nursing job prior to doing, I was thankful I had the nursing job prior to doing YouTube, because it enabled me to invest into that hobby, into that passion, when otherwise I wouldn't have anything. You know what I mean? So, if possible, depending on the position you're in, I'm just saying this just because it's from my experience, I would suggest potentially getting, like, say you're really, even if you're, like, superbly good at art or something like that, consider, you know, what job you could get involved in to have that financial stability, so that it enables you to pursue those passions on the side and then kind of build from that bedrock from there. You know what I mean? They now require you to take CNA before nursing class. I think that's good. Bro, why are you so mad? Am I mad? Do I sound mad? Huh? Are you talking to me or are you talking to somebody else? I'm confused. Oh. You wanted to be a social studies teacher as well? Yeah, that'd be cool. Asking deep questions. Deep questions are good, you know. Oh, 80s style. I couldn't understand his message, but he retracted it. Some people type stuff and it just comes up as like gobbledygook, and I like don't understand what they're saying. Oh no, yeah. Ask any questions you want. I enjoy, you know, any weird deep question you have. Like, I might not answer everything because some stuff is a little strange. That is maybe too personal or something, but. Don't be an artist. Got it. No, I'm not saying don't be an artist. I'm saying just be aware that pursuing your life of art, you know, that's why the old saying of like a starving artist, you know, you're making the art, but you're also starving, you know, so it's like just consider that the art is not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And but you do have time to pursue. It doesn't always have to be an education, but just pursue decisions that can enable you to be financially independent. You know what I mean? And you will thank yourself later because it will enable you a degree of freedom to operate on that art without fear. Art is your major. You're literally okay. What's my social security number? I'm not okay. Yeah, shit. All right. I'm just gonna keep reading stories. She was also extremely hardworking, holding positions at 2 retail jobs in order to save money to pursue for a law degree at an Ivy League university. One of these jobs was at the previously mentioned sportswear store, where on the night in question, she was working the closing shift. At around 6 p.m. on March the 15th, Tracy's mother arrived at the store to bring her daughter some dinner. She was a subortive, Jesus Christ. 666 watching. Oh my god, we've reached the demon's number. It's a tough career, teaching. Yeah, teaching is very, especially like if you teach the young grades. Like I just hear about like teachers, you know, having to buy all their own supplies and stuff like that. Because I had a friend of mine who taught younger elementary ed and stuff, and it was very frustrating for him, just like the amount of limited resources he had available to him from the school district. And you know, he loved the kids, but it was just he said it was infuriating sometimes trying to keep their dumbasses focused. She was a supportive, loving parent who often brought Tracy a plate of home-cooked food, which Tracy would then share with her colleagues on duty. She later said that nothing appeared amiss at the store and that her daughter seemed to be in a perfectly jovial mood. 2 hours later, Tracy's manager finished her shift and departed the store, as it was routine that lower employees would cash up and lock down the store at the usual closing time of 9 p.m. No sales were recorded after that point, so if there had indeed been any visitors, they certainly hadn't brought anything from any of the fart. Use your twerking abilities to scare away the ghosts. It just turns them on, dude. Kids do suck. It's like I love kids. I think they're hilarious, but like I just had like a flashback like earlier today thinking about a kid coming up to me asking me if he can use my phone to play games. And I don't know why that made me sick inside. Like I understand like maybe it's because I'm addicted to my phone and I want it. I want to play those fucking games, you little piece of shit. But you know what I mean? Like but at the same time I just like when I'm around kids, like sometimes they just don't fucking stop. You know what I mean? They just don't stop. And there's been a few times whenever I was at my old church, like I would do kids care, you know what I mean? Like me and another person would do like the Sunday kids care while the normal shit was going on. And I swear to God, it was like the longest fucking hour of my life, you know what I mean? Just because they would not stop. They just would not fucking like cut the crap. And it's not like I was mean to them or anything like that in response, but I just like, it's like, holy poop, man, they really drain you after a while. I'm like, imagine like, you know, shitting one of these things out. Like, that'd be tough. Parents are the ones who suck. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, a parent can breed a bad kid by the way they treat them, for sure. But I can't imagine a classroom full of them trying to deal with that stuff. I'd go bunkers. Kids are like bioterrorists, man. 80s style is Joel's make-believe girlfriend. I can't even see what he's typing because it keeps getting deleted or some shit, so just time him out or something if he's going to be, whatever he's saying is bad, but I have no idea what he's saying. You're single, never married, no kids. I had 22 kids, 5 days a week. It was exhausting. Well, yeah, I mean, fucking Christ on a cracker, mate. You know, like, how do you... I respect that, you know? Childbirth scares you too much. No thanks. Yeah, you know, it does a number on you, and it can kill you, and if you can, I mean, I think fostering children is like a really good thing too, you know what I mean? And it's not as expensive as adoption. I think you can foster to adopt and actually receive money from the government rather than like owing them tens of thousands of dollars for a child. I mean, and there's so many kids that need a home, but I know that it's difficult too. I know it's all difficult. Having kids, it's a huge responsibility that you have to make the decision. You can't make it lightly, obviously. Kids are different nowadays, yeah. No sales were recorded after that point, so if there had indeed been any visitors, they certainly hadn't bought anything from any of the clerks. After closing, one of the unit's security guards happened to notice that some of the store's lights were still on, long after they should have been turned off. So at around 10:30 p.m., he entered the store to investigate the situation, concerned there may have been an intruder who was using the lights to steal merchandise, having broken in using a back door. He took out his key to unlock the front entrance of the store, only to find that it was still unlocked. Deeply concerned, he thoroughly searched the front and back areas of the premises, only to make a terrifying discovery. In one of the back storage rooms lay Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick. There was a puddle of blood beneath her unconscious body, along with stab wounds to her chest and back. The security guard then rushed to call emergency services, hoping she could still be saved, but on arrival, paramedics found that she could not be revived, and they announced her dead on the scene. Police then arrived to cordon off the area so that a forensic examination could be undertaken. Horrifyingly enough, Tracy's parents were also on their way to the store, concerned that their daughter was having car trouble and might need a ride back home. But when they arrived on the scene, they saw the blue flashing lights of police cars and feared for the worst. We cannot imagine how painful it was to have their worst nightmares confirmed that their only daughter had been murdered by some mysterious assailant. All throughout the investigation that followed, Frederick homicide detective. Ugh. God of Pez with a 5 says, have you read any stories that have genuinely affected you? Well, not really. Like, I mean, I think all of them sort of maintain a strong sense of, like, you got to be careful on planet Earth kind of thing. No matter where you go, you're not always safe. I mean, in the sense that you just need to be proactive. Like, the police don't, even if the police get there in time, they still tend to not do anything. You know what I mean? So, like, learning to protect yourself is really important. And, you know, taking care of your own health, you know, being prepared for a catastrophic event is just as much being prepared for getting sick. You know what I mean? Like, you can take care of your immune system and keep healthy and take preventative steps or whatever. But anyways, that one that we read recently was like a true crime story where the little girl went to go get, and it was pretty recent, you guys remember this, is like the little girl went to go get fucking drink from the water fountain, dude, and then she didn't come back, and they found her body in like a janitor's closet, like literally like mutilated, you know, like stabbed so many times it was fucking disgusting. And I'm just like, you just think to yourself, like, a little 5-year-old girl, a little fucking, like, barely not even a toddler, you know, like, just innocent beyond all belief, and is just destroyed by someone who is an actual demon, you know what I mean? An actual demonic human being. And it just, I don't know, it just fucks you up, because it's like, I could just imagine myself being the parent in that scenario, and I don't even know how I would view reality, you know what I mean? Like, how do you even view reality after that, when you allowed your child to go get a drink, and they were fucking slaughtered, you know, like, you like, I don't even know if I could go on living, you know what I mean? That's how fucked up I would be. Yeah, that shit scares me, you know. But I don't know. Do I believe in Bigfoot and other cryptids? Yeah, I do. We were talking about it earlier. It's pretty interesting stuff. All throughout the investigation that followed, Frederick homicide detectives failed to identify any singular motive for her slaying. The cash in the store's register was still present. Tracy had not been indecently assaulted, nor did she appear to have any obvious enemies who might wish to see her come to harm. There was no... I burped. Bigfoot is an interdimensional ambassador. I've heard that, you know, I've heard that, but it also makes no fucking sense, because why does he stink so fucking bad? You know, why does he have, like, matted ass, like, poop covered hair, you know, and is a monkey? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really sound like much of an interdimensional species there, unless that's just, like, innate to their kind to be so disgusting. I'm gonna burp right in your ear. Jen Child with a 15 says, "Yo, Santa's voice helper, hi, all Santa's boys helpers friends." That seems like a bunch of like YouTube metadata just slapped together or something like that. Yo, Santa's voice helper, hi, all Santa's boys helpers friends. That's like a YouTube kids video title, you know, where you're trying to like get every like superheroes IRL real life Spider-Man Elsa tackles fun good time have fun toys. But thank you for the 15. They don't have showers where they come from. No, you know what? That's a fair assumption. I think the first time I ever come across a Bigfoot, I'm going to introduce him to some Head and Shoulders. Clean out the matted ass dreadlocks that are being held together by his feces. I'm going to help the Bigfoot community. I will be heralded as their god. That's okay, Jen. It's good to see you. What are you doing, step sister? There was no evidence of any chase or struggle, which suggested that Tracy knew her murderer as they approached to fatally... Dude, what is... They knew her murderer as they approached to fatally wound her. Sorry. I'm gonna wax Bigfoot. Oh, can you imagine what a waxed Bigfoot would look like? I could see that on, like an episode of Ancient Aliens, or like... Forensic scientists and computer graphics analysts have put together what we perceive to be potentially a waxed Bigfoot. And it's just this like really shitty, like, I don't know, it looks like a disgusting man who's like giant and with like Neanderthal like. Hawk says, breaking news, I just caught an M&M in my mouth after the third try of hitting the floor, so it's fair to say we all had a big day today. Squawk. Congratulations, Hawk. Do I believe in aliens, though? You know, I think so. It's like, they could be anything, man. They could be from Alpha Centauri. They could be from another dimension. They could be from the fucking moon, you know what I mean? Or they could be from under the earth. Who fucking knows? It sucks. I'd like to know. I'd like to know everything there is to know about everything. But I only know about, like... 0.0017% of everything. No. 0.0017% of 1% of 1%. That's how much I know. Barely jack squat shit is what I'm trying to say. I believe in mermaids. It's entirely possible. But only if they're hot. Like Ariel. There was no evidence of any chase or struggle, which suggested that Tracy knew her murderer as they approached to fatally wound her. Yet not a single person working at the store that day had seen anything suspicious, or could suggest anyone they thought would be guilty of such a horrific crime. Investigators were completely and utterly flummoxed. Did they really just use the word flummoxed? Holy fart on my ass, man. That is a really funny word. They were utterly flummoxed. Sweetheart, where's my super suit? I'm flummoxed. Bewildered or perplexed?
Flummoxed.
Flummoxed. Chills thinks mermaids are hot. He better. My girlfriend was a mermaid. Mermaid. A mermaid. A mermaiden. We got married in Atlantis. Yet not a single person working at the store that day had seen anything suspicious, or could suggest anyone they thought to be guilty of such a horrific crime. Investigators were completely and utterly flummoxed. That was until 3 months later when a person called into the U.S. National Confessions Hotline. A recording of the call was made, which reads as follows. Hello, my name is Don and I'm calling from Frederick, Maryland. I know this is going to sound surprising, but 3 months ago, I stabbed a girl to death, and you might think that in making this tape, I'm setting myself up to be caught. But there are a lot of guys named Don in Frederick. The girl I killed was working in a ladies' sportswear store. I often came by and talked to her when she was working alone, and one night she... I often came by... Fuck. That'd be funny if the voicemail just said that. Oh my god. Let me gargle. Anybody ready for a gargle? Gargle count? My throat is flummoxed. Thoughts on eagles? Well, they're dangerous. And they seem to fly a lot. Ask Hawk. Hawk might know about them more than me. I often came by and talked to her when she was working alone. And one night when she was in the storeroom and we were talking, our conversation turned into an argument. And so I took out a knife I had with me at all times and I killed her. And a few days later, I realized I had created a lot of sadness, and I thought about turning myself into the police. But whatever they do to me, they won't bring Tracy back. So I've decided that I better keep free because we have the death penalty in Maryland. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry about what I did, but nothing can change it. Bye. Staff from the confession hotline forwarded a copy of the recording to Frederick Police, and the call was traced to a place called Walkersville, a small town in the same county that was just less than 10 miles away from the Alien Ladies Sportswear. 2 weeks after the call, a self-proclaimed psychic telephoned Frederick Police, informing them that their investigations should center around a man she only referred to as Sean. She claimed this Sean character was acting strangely regarding the case, going as far as sending her clippings from newspapers and asking her bizarre and probing questions about Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick. Apparently willing to follow up any lead they had, no matter how ridiculous sounding, Frederick Police then descended into Walkersville, where they played the audio recording of the confession to various members of the public in the hopes that they might be able to identify the voice on the tape. As it turned out, several people recognized the voice on the tape as neither a Sean nor a Don, saying it belonged to someone whose identity was never made public by investigators. This man was never arrested or formally charged with Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick's murder, and despite thorough searches of his property and his complete lack of alibi, he was subsequently rolled out as a suspect. Essentially, the identity of Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick's killer is a complete mystery. But there is one interesting detail that seems to have been completely overlooked by law enforcement. You see, there was a man named Don present at the sportswear store that night. The same security guard that apparently stumbled across Tracy's body is named Don Barnes Jr., and his father is none other than Don Barnes Sr., who was actually the sheriff of Frederick County at the time of Kirkpatrick's murder. Yet despite him being one of the only people present at the time she was murdered, Don Barnes Jr. has never been considered a suspect. Now this could easily be because whoever committed the murder was well aware of Don's presence in the area on the night of the murder and sought to implicate him. But even if this was the case, surely Don would have faced some form of casual questioning, given that no one else was present when Tracy Lynn Kirkpatrick's body was found. Yet apparently he didn't, and many have alleged that this is because Don Barnes Jr. was actually a prime suspect whose involvement was completely covered up at the hand of his sheriff father. However, the allegations of nepotism are exactly that, purely allegations. And since no single person has been charged or implicated in the crime in any serious way, the case remains, and may forever remain, unresolved. Fuck. How did I mess up that last word? Allie Joe says, you are my favorite scary YouTuber storyteller. Thanks for the nice comments about my work. It's called Hatchets, Jacks, in Iowa. Oh, cool. I wonder if anybody's out that way that can... I feel like I wouldn't want to work in a hatchet place. I feel like, what if someone, like, you're going to get them and someone fucking throws a hatchet at your hand directly into the board? Just kidding. Hopefully that doesn't happen. However, the allegations of nepotism are exactly that, purely allegations. And since no single person has been charged or implicated in the crime in any serious way, the case remains, and may forever remain, unsolved. However, the allegations of nepotism are exactly that, purely... Alright, we gonna get this bitch, alright? We gonna get her. One last motherfucking sentence. Joel selling gargle water. I'll just spit it up in the air and anybody can have it. On eBay. I wonder if you can sell gargle water on eBay. Somebody look that up. However, the allegations of nepotism are exactly that, purely allegations. And since no single person has been charged or implicated in the crime in any serious way, the case remains, and may forever remain, unsolved. Dun dun dun! That is sad, though. Is this the last story? Is this the last story? Is this the last story? I'm not telling you. Fucking spam that shit, I'm not telling you. You'll never know. You'll never know. You're gonna be stuck here forever. 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 Alright. That was the last story, though. Somebody think of something funny to say at the end. We're going to read the outro. You can sell her armpit hair on eBay, I think so. Nice. Do fiction next week? Well, I don't really do fiction on the channel. Selling all my juices at the market. I'm bringing my juices down to the Amish market. Do I read books on my YouTube? No, they're all just like stories that people submit or like true crime, like documentary type stuff. And such and so forth. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r Let's Read Official. and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord, interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month. Fuck. How did I mess that up? And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, no one said anything funny. EJ, yeah. Thank you, GW. Whatever floats your goat. And remember, waxing Bigfoot will reveal a multi-pronged genitalia. I can't say that. Joel doesn't do fiction, he does friction. And remember, Hunters to the End, Red Dead Redemption, The Adventures of the Hunter Posse. What the fuck is that? This is funny, though. I'd never played the, I did see that, like, Red Dead had some new DLC stuff, but I didn't really like Red Dead Online. I just kind of thought it was like they didn't really support it very much, and it was just kind of a mishmash of bullshit, but I guess that's kind of how all of Rockstar's online stuff usually goes. Dude, if Rockstar took what they had and made like more of a tactical shooter, more of like an organized experience, I'm telling you, dude, it would sell bigly. And remember, Bob Ross is the boss. That'd be cool. I remember boobies. Outlaws to the end. I don't know if anybody would understand what you're talking about. Classic horror fiction. Ooh. I did read some H.P. Lovecraft and stuff. I've left you quite discheesed. What kind of bees make milk? Boobies. Nice. Have you ever seen Joel and Bigfoot in the A Few run? But have you ever seen Joel and Bigfoot in the A Few run? Fluffy little trees. Nurses are always bitchy. I wouldn't disagree with that one. Honestly, some of the nurses I've seen, like, you wouldn't be out of your element, or it wouldn't be abnormal for you to like specifically ask for a specific nurse, like, and on a floor, if you were stuck on a floor as a patient, they wouldn't say no to you. You know what I mean? Like, they might not be working that shift or something, but you know, if you like a specific nurse and you only want that one, you know, sometimes it's better to do that, because there's some nurses I've worked with where I'm like, I would not want them to be in charge of any of my healthcare. You know. When did I do H.P. Lovecraft? I think I did it a long time ago. I may have taken it down because like I just didn't have the. You could look it up on the page, see if it still exists through the searchable aspects of the page. Justice for all. Justice. Keep going and going. Nobody said anything funny yet, guys. Someone say something funny. In space, no one can hear you cream. Maybe I'll say that just for my actual fuck up. Cocaine for decongesting. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, in space, no one can hear you. Wait, fuck. Bug Snacks on PS5. I think it's only on Xbox, right? Or is it on both? Thanks so much, friends. And remember, in space, no one can hear you cream. No, I can't, like, I always, like, end in a weird way, and I can't figure out how to not end in a weird way. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, in space, no one can hear you cream. There we go. We fucking did it. You were boring. You're not boring. I just nothing with like normally somebody says something that like tickles my ear. You know what I mean? Like you know when you just like know, you know that you know that you know, and yeah. So when I accidentally fucked up and said no one can hear you cream instead of scream when that person typed that, I knew that I knew that I knew, and I went with it. But guys, thanks again for an amazing stream. Had a great time. As always. It's about it's 2 a.m. What the fuck? But yeah, as always, this will be out first on Patreon. Get that edited up there for you guys. Early access, it's only $1 a month, like $10 for a year. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at letsread.official. Follow me on Twitter at letsreadcreepy. Follow my meme page. We're so close to 1,000 followers on there. Just for the fun of it, send me all the memes you can. That is at horny computer. Look forward to this video, Retail Stories Volume 3. Feel free to check out the past 2 volumes as well. I'll probably be linking those in the video description of this new video, but that'll be out tonight at 7 p.m. EST. You can do the adjustments depending on where you are in the world. I know some people. It's actually really funny. Like I get that comment all the time on like stuff when I say like this video is out tomorrow or tonight at 7 p.m. EST, and everyone's like, "Wait, what time is that in the UK?" And it's like, just go on Google and literally type in like what your time zone is, or compare it to the EST. You know what I mean? I just figured it's like a simple fix, but it's funny. Anyways, love you guys, and thank you so much for dealing with my insanity. We will live this life together until the end. In space, no one can hear you cream, 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 cream. But yeah, join the Discord too if you haven't already. It's a good time. Chat with people. Making internet friends. Always fun. So, alright, my friends. Have a good one. Much love to you. See you on the flippy floppy. Bye-bye.